All right. Welcome everyone. Bear with us a moment here while we get this fired up. Gotta close some tabs. Yep. All right, we'll give folks a few more moments to tune in. Happy Thursday, everybody. Oh. Ah. Let's bump some beats, shall we? Let's bump some beats. We're gonna try and join an X space today while live on the stream here. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Oh man, where we at? It's another beautiful Thursday. The weather's pretty nice down here in Austin, Texas today, so that's a plus. Had to make a run to the vet, drop off some doggy doo-doo for the doctors. They love the doggy doo-doo. Little stool sample for analysis. What it is, Double D. Welcome. Man, what is the news today? First of all, I think there's an actual war happening in Iran now. Unconfirmed. And X just totally nuked InfoFi. uh, that's interesting. So basically, all those projects that were incentivizing people to create, spam replies and AI slop, had their API keys yanked. That's a sharp drop. Dang. Good news for Kipper. Kipper still works great. So, if you're new around here and you're trying to figure out how to get your hands on some Quai, the rest of you are probably tired of me saying it. I'm not tired of it though. Guys, Kipper Money, go sign up. It's free. If you're verified on X, you earn Quai just for signing up. And we have a Discord community that's been around for 5 years. A novel Layer 1 blockchain named Quai Network. Kipper's also integrated with Solana, I'll just say that. But they are absolutely cracked on tipping each other Quai on X. So if you're posting about Quai on X, it's probably the easiest way to earn Quai. So don't miss out, guys. What? Boom. I just sent Leet Quai to Christopher there. That easy. Meanwhile, the rest of InfoFi has their API keys yanked. So there's better solutions to these problems, people. Better solutions. This guy, like, I can only show you the door. Some people. Some people. Oh man. Marketing specialist, huh? Casino live stream moderator. Let's see if this guy even has an original tweet I can tip. Still looking for an original tweet that I can tip some Quai. What is December 25th? I mean, it's clear we should not be wasting our time at this point. December 1st. Yeah, not wasting my time. Uh, that's what we're doing right now on stream. Tune in if you want to cut through the noise. You gotta join the chat, guys. You gotta say what's up in the chat. You say what's up in the chat, you get some quiet. It's that simple. The rest of Quai Nation knows what the deal is. Oh, I gotta share this stream with the rest of Quai Nation. That's what we haven't done. Soon. Get your Kipper wallets ready, guys. We're live. Ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum. These AI tracks are like so impressive. Guys, Discord is so fun today. Had an amazing conversation this morning with Steph and friends. Thursdays are always like good days. Every day in Quiet Network actually since December 17th has been a good day. That's for sure. Oh man, we're getting our head of ourselves here. And I'm not even using the right window. Boom, soap dashboard, party people. If you're wondering why our token is performing as well as it is, it's because we are the only network that has real sustainable revenue. And this is only possible due to mining. You gotta spend money to make money, people. Nothing's for free in this world. Everything costs energy. And if you're just printing tokens and paper backed by nothing, tied to nothing, you're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. Damn! Guys, like, as soon as I tweeted yesterday that we surpassed $50,000 on the 24-hour mark in revenue, like, I think it was less than an hour later, we hit over 60,000. And then earlier today, Dr. K spied it, 69,420. That was hilarious. Let's go find that tweet. Screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. 69,420. Does anybody do numerology around here? Let's add these numbers up. Let's add these numbers up. The synchronicities have been quite ironic lately. Let's do 6 plus 9 plus 4 plus 2 plus 0 plus 8 plus 9. It's 38. 3 plus 8 equals 11. That's 2. Not the best number, but this is fun. 69,420. Love to see it. I joined, can't chat. Want want. If I win, can I get on crypto wallet? Um, what's the deal with the chat right now? Uh, Too bad, so sad. I guess you got to be a verified member of the chat. That's not true. Keyshore's Keyshore's not verified, and he joins the chat all the time. Uh, Only spare so much rope, man. We gotta move on to the next thing. You, CSG0 Dawn, have not had an original tweet in like 2 months, so there's nothing for me to like actually like help you out with. So you need to work on that. Call yourself a marketing specialist and you don't even have any original tweets. That's interesting. Anywho, boom, guys. Quickly approaching 600,000 in revenue, over 60,000 in the 24-hour mark. Hash rate is continuing to climb. We got some dips recently here on Shaw and Script, but the 7-day is still looking pretty. Meanwhile, Kapow, bow, catching up, man. Kapow is catching up. That's crazy. Look at all these. Look at all these Ravencoin blocks. Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash. There's a Litecoin block. Super cool, guys. Super cool. So those are the numbers in revenue. Let's go check in on what to mine. GPUs. We have every algorithm selected on GPUs right now for 33070s. Boom! Kapow. Quai Network up at the top. 697%. Okay, guys. Here's the current challenge, right? Like let's peek CoinGecko real quick. Here's the current challenge. If the price of Quai keeps going up exponentially, the network is actually overpaying for hash rate, right? So we need the hash rate to catch up with the price of Quai. There's a little bit of immaturity in the market right now, but hey, you know, there's money to be made, folks. Go out there, go mine some Quai. Check out Mining America Rentals, Nice Hash, Chlor. Chlor's been promoting it. Chlor's super easy to mine with. There's other solutions as well. I am not an expert. But if you got a GPU, we were looking at BC 160s the other day. They're like $100, and they do more hash rate on Kapow than these like $200, $250 3070s. So there's definitely an opportunity, guys. Huge opportunity. Let's check out the A6. Let's check out the A6. Script and SHA 256. Boom, quiet at the top here. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, we still, like, SHA 256 leads SHA 256, and Script leads Script. But you used to see Quai, SHA, and Script, like, stacked up here above even the rest of SHA. So, there's some maturation happening in this market, that's for sure. Like to see it, like to see it. You know, the current upward trajectory of across all of crypto is helping us out as well. So that's cool. That's cool. Good stuff, guys. Let's see. Is there anything else we like to look at? We used to pull up DeFi Llama, but they're still working through wrapping their head around how the hell Quai Network is actually achieving these numbers. It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. So, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna take everybody a minute. You know? Like, if you've been in crypto a certain period of time, you think you know a thing or two. Quai Network definitely breaks a lot of belief systems, that's for sure. We were talking about that last stream. But yeah, let's check out DeFi Llama. Let's quick check in. What were we at? 64,000 in 24 hours. 64.5. Okay. Let's check out DeFi Llama here. Where does that put us? That puts us in number 7. There's a pretty big gap between these two, right? I mean, we surpassed Hyperliquid and all these guys really quickly. Um, but there's a decent gap here, right? I mean, you're talking about, getting into the range of the top 3 tokens by market cap. Wonder what Tron's market cap is. Actually, let's just go here. Let's go by market cap. Tether, man, that's not really a chain. Alright, BNB XRP, okay. DeFi Llama definitely doesn't track XRP. But Solana and Tron down here at 29 billion. Yeah, guys, by the end of 2026, I definitely expect Quai Network to be in the top 10 of blockchains. Like, get rid of Tether, get rid of USDC, get rid of this Lido staked Ether. That's insane, though. Gosh. Just money printers. That's all they are. Just freaking money printers. But I mean, probably even well before the end of 2026 is everything on our plate works out as intended. A lot of big unlocks can't come in. A lot of very interested partners looking at making some major moves on early small market cap coin that has more potential than anything else they've seen since Bitcoin. CSGO. I didn't make any posts, just used contact with people for work. Okay. Well, check it out, man. I've been tipping you. Look at this. I'm tipping you. Boom. You're earning some Quai just for me liking your replies there. So go get it. You got the link. Have fun. Yes, we are giving away Quai branded hardware, like hardware wallets. Tangem, like look, you can see the plastic on these things. They're still sealed. They're still sealed. Optimal performance between negative 25 to 50 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Yeah. Production month, September 2025. So, if you weren't around back then, don't worry. Don't worry, you're still early. But what was it? It was quai.tangem.com. There was a pre-sale, and then they were being sold for a certain period of time. So this is what they look like. We need to get this account to 1,000 followers. We already did a giveaway a while ago. I gotta follow up with Crypto Vegeta. Did you get your wallet, man? Crypto Vegeta. Where you at? Where are you at? Where is Crypto Vegeta? How come gosh dang, guys. Chat is so jacked. There he is. Yeah. So yeah, we gotta get this account to 1,000 followers. We got more than a few of these Tangent wallets, guys. So keep your eyes peeled. Follow the account. Share with friends and family. Everybody who tunes into these spaces enjoys the chat, earns some Quais. So it's pretty easy to, you know, there's definitely an incentive. Not wonderful on Twitch. What up? How's it going? Uh, hey, how can I contact you about advertising our game? I don't understand English well. If you're interested, give me your Telegram ID in the chat. Yeah, I don't advertise games, man. Sorry, wrong streamer. We do crypto related content over here. What up, DeFi Rye? Welcome to the chat. We gotta hook you up with some Quai. Oh man, I just lost the chat. There it is. Oh shoot, I did it again. What's up? What's up? Let's do this. This is how easy it is, guys. Now that the rest of the InfoFi projects have basically been nuked, Quai is on its way, or Kipper, you know, huge opportunity for Kipper. DeFi Rye, I need an original post that I can tip. All right, here we go. Found one. Boom. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Not wonderful. I will say, if you're interested, shoot me your X handle. We're just giving away crypto over here at the moment. And go ahead and give us a follow over on X if you want to get in on the Tangent wallet giveaway. But that's what we're doing here today. We are grinding in the crypto trenches, hanging out with Quai Nation fam. What's up, everybody? I got my bullet journal up here. We got a few things we got going on today. We actually are going to try to join an X space. We'll see how well this works. Excuse me. Joining X spaces from the computer is always sketchy. I'll just say that. Da, da, da. We'll tune in though. We'll tune in.
All I did was increase the principal and increase the profit taking. And that's what measured me out and balanced me out. And it was able to help me find the in between, right? That level ground between, having one foot in the scalp world and one foot in the swing world. All I did to change, or all I changed, was increasing my principal trade entries, sometimes by a lot, but at the same time, increasing how aggressive I was with profit taking as well, and how close I was chasing my stop loss. That was just a personal experience, and what you guys were saying was really speaking to me on that. So thanks for that, guys.
Hey, OTG with the alpha. Let's go. Different type of alpha today, but I'll definitely take that. That's great. That's great stuff, OTG. Um, Ash, dude, I know we only have a few minutes left in here. I'm glad you're able to pop through. Would love to throw the mic over to you. And then if we have time, also want to hear from Liz before we jump into this mining space happening in a few minutes.
Yeah, man. Thanks for letting me up. I'll be short and sweet. It's a very interesting discussion today. I've only caught the tail end of it, but some of the mental pieces that come around with trading are some of the bigger, chunkier pieces that don't get always
No
addressed
sweat.
maybe as much as they
DeFi
should.
Rye. Appreciate you swinging by the chat. Guys,
The way that I like to do
we're gonna
operations
jump on this
is
space
I like
maybe
a larger position size with a lower leverage.
here in a few
That's just
minutes.
me.
So
And the
if you're
reason I do it that
interested
way
in mining,
is
I highly recommend you check it out. We're
basically
we're
one, I
gonna
don't have
hold
to
it
worry
down for
about
Quai Network over
short,
here.
fast
Wolf
moves that can,
Crypto,
really
great,
take you out quickly if you're on a
great
high leverage.
partner in terms of
But also it gives
bringing
me
the mining community together.
some confidence
I
that
think
I can put
last
my
week we
stop
decided this is
loss
the biggest
where
space
it needs
in
to
crypto
be,
mining on
and
X.
not
So
in a position where I'm scared of
I
losing
always
money.
learn something
Do you know what
tuning
I mean?
in
So
to these
I'm sure
spaces,
that's already been mentioned, but
hanging out with some of the
if you're
biggest
putting your stop
crypto
loss in a
miners in
position
the
where
industry.
you are like, oh,
And
that's
Quai
the mean amount
Network
of
has
money I
been
want to
making
lose in this
splashes
trade,
in
well,
this
then
space,
you've
so
probably already
it's
fixed
an
that off,
honor and
right? You're also
privilege.
going into that trade
So
with
we'll
a
see how
negative
this
mindset.
goes. Joining from a computer is
So,
always
like,
rough, but
I have very strict rules where
we
my stop
got
losses
we
go.
got some other
If
Quai
the
Nation
leverage that I
members
think I want to
and
use
team
doesn't
members
allow me to put the stop
in the
loss in
space as
that
well.
range or
So
around
I
that
just posted a
range,
link to
I
it.
automatically know that one, my position entry is probably a
Feel
little bit
free
shitty, or
to
two, or a
drop
combination of
them
them. My
from this
leverage is too
stream and
high,
tune into
as well
that
as my position
directly
or
if
my entry being a little bit shitty.
you
So
prefer that. We'll be
um,
around
that's
well
some sort of
after
simple
it,
things
so
that I use.
if you haven't joined the
And to be
chat
honest,
yet,
like
Nerds and
once you've
Quai,
done it for a
don't worry,
while
we'll
too,
we'll be back after the break.
you know when you've taken a shit entry. Like you'll know because you'll be candle watching. You know, it's a real big tell. It's a huge red flag. So if I do that and I notice I'm like flicking back and forth from like whatever I'm doing to check a position, um, that to me is one of the big signals that I should probably close out, even if it is at a loss. I don't care. Reset and find a better entry. And if something runs and keeps going, well, so be it. But the majority of cases, again, like not financial advice, all those sorts of things, but being more comfortable with where your position is, what your position size is, your entry point, all those things go a long way in building your confidence on your position as a whole. Um, and it also means things like trying to stick to where your take profits are. You know, if you go into a trade, you should have a mind of where your take profits are. You know, whether or not that you're close it in 100% sort of person, or you're like, I'll set TPs of 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. Do things like trailing stop losses, like that. Those are all the strategies, but you have to find out what vibes the most with your personality type, because the one person you're trading against is not, it's not anyone else. Even though it is a PvP market, it is yourself, it is your own mind. So those things are really important to get a grasp of. And uh,
There you
I think
are.
it took me a good few years
What up,
before I understood
CS:GO?
that. You get a lot of
Here.
wins, and then you start taking some hits, and you don't really know
Yeah,
why.
you made it,
You
man.
chase, you
Um,
revenge trade, all those sorts
I
of
need I
things.
need an
And
original
once you sort of
post.
can come back,
Tweet something about
evaluate your
Quai,
entry
and we'll
strategies,
get
your
you
exit
hooked up.
strategies, you stick to a set of rules for a certain number of
Feel
trades.
free
You go
to
back and
tag me
back
in it
test your strategies.
if you
All
want to
those
get my
things,
attention.
pay dividends.
All's fair.
And you'll only thank yourself later. It can be a painful process, but you'll thank yourself in the future that you stuck to those sort of rules, because it makes it a lot easier to evaluate um, and do like a post mortem afterwards. Um, that's really all I've got to add on that topic. I don't really want to jump into price sections because it sounds like he's in a different area at the moment. So I'll hand the mic back. But thanks for the time, Cade, and good to talk to everyone.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's always good to have you all. Anytime you can hop up and chat with us, Ash, it's great to have you, man. Um, yeah, great advice, honestly. I mean, it's a different type of space today. I'm not sure what it was from the air, but we got into some different types of outfits today, so I appreciate it. I know we have that mining space coming up here in a few minutes. There was another speaker I was going to get to, but it looks like they may have dropped off. So I think we'll just roll into this mining discussion. For those who are in the space, you're enjoying this trading discussion. Be sure you're following the traders up here. We got Landy. I know a few people dropped off already, but Landy, Bits, OTG, Lisa, Nick, Ash, Price, Frank, a bunch of legends up here on stage. These are the right people to follow. There's many spaces where there are people not worth following. So definitely be sure to give these folks up your follow. They're on streaming spaces all the time. Bits is live more than he's not. Um, I'm not sure how his wife lets him do these things, but the brother is live 24/7. And yeah, man, so be sure to give him a follow. He's doing a bunch of stuff here at Wolf as well. He's got a Wolf stream yesterday where he got some, or Tuesday, I think, 2 days ago, and he had a pretty good call outs there. And so it's definitely worth tuning into those for sure. And hopefully doing more streams with a lot of these other traders soon. And if you're looking for a place to start trading again, as you guys know, hit up Ostium. That link is pinned to the top of the space for those who want to trade any and all assets all in one place. And we're going to get into this mining discussion here. I'm going to get some of these speakers up here over the next couple minutes. I'll be doing some speaker rotating. So no harsh feelings if you get dropped here. But so I think we got Alan up here. I think we got Chris. I think Hobbyist is up here as well. Do a couple mic checks. Hobbyist, can I hear you?
I am here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, yeah, it's good to hear your voice, brother. Let me see. We also got Chris. We got Alan. Alan, how are you?
What's going on, guys? Ready to jump into the best mining space on X, the most listened to mining space on X? Maybe we'll start calling it
This is
that.
true. Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely start calling it that. The most listened to. Um, oh, we got should we get Christopher up on stage? Chris, how's it going?
Yeah. Hey, can you guys hear me? I'm in my car right
Yes,
now.
sir.
Want to do a quick little mic
Yes,
check?
sir. I can.
Yeah, I love that. I think we definitely can say it's the most listened to best mining space in X, broadly speaking. I always love listening to the tail end of the trading spaces. I'm telling you guys, we're going to be available in America soon on Kraken. That is happening. But if you're outside America, definitely look at Quai. We want to convince you guys and build that confidence. We're not some shitcoin out there.
This is true. Mr. Troy, I also saw Alpha Mind jumped up here a minute ago. How's it going, brother? It's good to have you in space.
Hey, how's it going? Can you guys hear me
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Nice. Awesome. Good to be here. And yes, Kraken soon. I can't wait for that.
There you go,
Yeah, 100%.
CSGO
That's actually
done.
one of the topics I know we've kind of gotten to a
We'll
whole
hook you up.
whole
There,
slew of
there it
different
is.
topics in these
Boom.
spaces, and so sometimes it may be repetitive. It kind of
That's
depends
how
on the
easy it is,
audience. We
man.
gotta
You gotta go
that's a good
claim it
audience for
though.
that.
Here's
Maybe we're
here's
not
the
tuning in
link.
every single
Here's the
week, and
link to
so
go get
it's
your
good to kind
quai.
of catch people up each week on what's going on in the mining world. But one of the things I was circulating as the year kind of kicks off here, obviously Bitcoin's had some good performance. A lot of the assets have. I think in the last day or so we've had a little bit of correcting, but a lot of things are going. And so I was kind of curious on what you guys look for in terms of like the red flags in crypto mining projects, things you're watching out for, things you want to make sure are locked in, dialed in on the crypto mining side. I'm sure there's some bad
Excuse
projects
me.
out there that you guys know of, where they're doing some shady stuff, and then there are projects who are doing it right. And I didn't know what kind of comes to mind. I know we got a couple new speakers here who don't come through the Wolf Spaces as often, so I definitely wanted to get some of their thoughts on it.
That
Alpha
works,
Mind, maybe I'll start
CSGO
with
done.
you. What kind of comes to mind from some of these red
Get
flags in the crypto
you
mining
gotta
world?
go claim it though, right? So it's
Yeah.
waiting for you in an
In
escrow
mining,
smart contract up there at
a
Kipper
couple of
Money.
initial
So
red flags are like low
sent you the
liquidity. You know,
tweet
when a
multiple
project's brand
times
new,
with the link.
you want to be
So
skeptical. At
go
least
snag it there.
when I'm doing, I guess what I would call my like, due diligence process, if you will. I'm sure it's not perfect. It can always be improved, but low liquidity, like not a lot of like adoption, small community. Anytime it's brand new, you got to kind of be careful. And you can kind of tell a lot by like what exchanges it's getting listed on, and what pools are adopting it. One of the things about Quai that actually was like a huge green flag for me was like I know it's the crypto space, and so like there's a little bit of I guess I don't know friction around like identity and stuff. But for me, when I'm looking at a project and like they're serious and they're out there, and the team members are like upfront about their educational backgrounds, they have published like academic journal articles around their work, like that's a big green flag. So I don't know. I guess some of the red flags are the opposite of that. Yeah, I'll leave it there. There's like a couple other things. A good white paper.
All right, we gotta join from a different account here. Taking over Quai official. What? What?
You actually made a couple interesting videos lately as well, so I definitely want to get some of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, no problem. So I think for me, you know, what I have learned, especially over the last few years, is not to chase profitability. I think, originally starting out as a GPU miner and, moving into ASICs eventually, the big one, especially with GPU mining then was, oh, this is the most profitable and this is a new coin that just came out. And oh my gosh, look at the profitability that I'm making on these old cards. I need to rush to get everything on there. And I think one of the things I've learned is like I don't jump for those opportunities anymore. I've learned my lesson because a lot of the times those are bubbles that come and they're gone in a week. And the other one there is I've also learned the hard way of, oh, this thing, man, the price is pumping. This is going up like crazy. This new coin, I'm gonna stack as much as I can of it, and that is absolutely the wrong way to go. When it's crazy hot and crazy profitable, you liquidate that as fast as you can, because there's been a lot of projects over the last I'd say last 2 years, that have done that, and they were crazy profitable in that day, and today they're worth pennies. So it was definitely take those profits when things are hot, and roll them into more mature projects, mature coins out there that will be here next week versus a lot of these projects.
Yeah, there's some great points. And Oz, I know you were trying to get up here. I think we have you up on stage. I'm not sure if you're able to hear the last couple minutes of conversation, but if you have, I'd love to get your input on some of these red flags as well.
I am so sorry. I kind of missed part of the conversation. I was having some technical difficulties there for a
No,
minute. I
it's not
kept
just
trying
you,
to
Oz.
open the
It's been
space.
rough all day, I promise. So it's definitely not just you.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, I'll just circle back.
X
I'll keep
spaces,
listening, and then
guys.
I'll figure out what we're talking about.
No, all good. Yeah, we were just chatting about some of the red flags that we see in these crypto
QM Quai
projects and crypto
Squad.
mining spaces,
Welcome,
specifically.
welcome.
And we had a couple new speakers I wanted to get their thoughts on as well. I think we may have had this one a few weeks ago. But yeah, we'll circle
I
back
can
over
give
to you,
you
Oz.
I can give you a different take. Being the guy that gets hired by these guys. If if you don't have good paperwork, be concerned. If you're dealing with someone that's doing cloud mining and
Ah, Kipper.
a lot of the hosting contracts, be very concerned about the
Uh,
lack
stand
of
stand by, Quai Squad.
paperwork,
We're having
um, paper
some
trail.
conflict because
Um,
we're
I'd
holding down
say
the Quai Network
not
official account
having any
today.
amount of transparency, especially at the point of where you're setting the wallet, uh, point of concern. Mm.
But QM.
And then if you ever ask to have a miner moved and you don't get quite the service that you expect or something like that, that would be another real.
All right, we're gonna try this again.
Oh man, the
There we
mining
go.
position ourselves in the market and grow and ensure that we can deliver on the promises. We have a very grand vision, and we can't get anywhere without the mining community. We want the mining community to be the bread and butter of what Quai is delivering on in terms of decentralization, security, throughput, and innovation. As a team and as a founding group, we've done a lot of the groundwork, and we can only get so far without the rest of the miners to actually come in and participate in the system. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do to build trust, and I think trust in the system is extremely important. And not only trust in the network, but trust in the asset, trust in the infrastructure, trust that the network will continue to operate today as it does in the future, and for doesn't go down on you. It has 24/7 reliability, like blockchain network should have, which is like why we're disrupting TradFi. And so, yeah, man, I think getting to the point where miners can have trust in the projects that they are mining, that it is lucrative for them to mine the token, for them to participate, and for them to support it long term as devs go and accomplish, you know, more and more utility, more and more activations and integrations. And from our side, definitely appreciate the growth that we've seen from the mining community over the past month since SOAP. And there's a lot more that we're doing to continue that push, to continue that growth, and to continue to innovate in the proof of work space in a way that not only is good for miners, but is good for the entire space. Ozzy, I see you got your hand up over there. Kick it over to you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're talking about scams and things. I think something that's really important for new miners that are coming into the space and wanting to start mining is to avoid altcoin ASICs entirely. Don't mess with that stuff. If I were to mention any sorts of ASICs, I would only do script or SHA-256. That's it. I see a lot of miners get sucked into profitability numbers because so and so, miners making 40, $50 a day, but the reality is by the time you get that miner online, it's already down to 15, and then the next week you're almost losing money. I'd say close to 99% of people who buy altcoin ASICs lose out and don't even break even. So, stick to your traditional hardware, ASICs, GPUs. But when I'm speaking about ASICs, I'm very specific. It's only script, only SHA-256. Don't mess with the other stuff because you're gonna get burned if you don't know what you're doing.
And true alpha from someone who's on the field. Oz. Alpha might answer your hand, and then we'll head over to Neil.
Yeah, I would just largely agree with that. And like thinking about spec mining, um, it's like a fun sport, but it's like if you have a site and you're kind of serious in mining, like it does make sense to have the base of your operation be something a little bit more reliable, like Ozzy said, shop or script mining. But it is fun and you can have some success with spec mining. I mean, it's just like if you're in there and you have the ability to kind of do good due diligence and like your risk tolerance is you're keeping that in mind, there's arbitrage opportunities. And I largely agree with what Hobby has said. There's some of these times when like some of these altcoins that have recently launched, these proof of work altcoins, they're like flying high and they're euphoric, and like that's the time, just like you said, hop out, triage into one of your longs, like a more reliable coin that you know are hoping is going to do well or whatever. I don't give financial advice. I'm just saying it all of that stuff tracks. And like spec mining, I've had a lot of fun spec mining. I've had plenty of failures. I've had a couple successes. And like you know, back in the day, Bitcoin was a shit coin spec mine too, right? So you know, there's not I don't know. I'll leave it there. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, you know, a lot of that stuff just tracks, and there's safety in kind of like those larger cap kind of SHA and script deployments. So yeah.
Hey guys. Really, the way I look at it is there's enough risk and enough variables with mining in general that after kind of watching it all, I guess with the one exception of like the L7 being the randomly most profitable miner of all time, but it's just easier if you're really business focused and business driven and just want to be able to know your numbers and plan for that. It's hard enough just mining Bitcoin and to kind of look at other coins and other ASICs, and then they're really hard to calculate prices on other ASICs too, because kind of with the SHA-256 miners, you can use the formula that I typically like to stick to is if you have 5 cent power, whatever profit you're going to generate over the next 2 years is pretty much what the price of the miner is going to be. And if they try to use that same formula on something like a Zcash miner, like we saw, yeah, you're talking $15,000-$20,000 for a miner, and that might be what it is right then. But by the time you even get it delivered, that's just astronomically wrong, and you basically threw away $15,000. So it's hard to do that, and like he was saying, yeah, it could be fun if you're doing well and your mining operation is going well. It's fun to gamble on stuff like that, but it's essentially no different than gambling on altcoins if you're a trader. So diversification, there's something to be said about that, but when you're trying to scale up, I think you got enough problems with just Bitcoin mining. So I tend to stick with that. So that's my opinion on that, I suppose.
I second that opinion. I'm just curious in the room, like, because I serve, whoever wants to buy land and power. I don't really care what you're doing with it, whether it's AI or crypto or Bitcoin. Like the job for me is the same, right? So I'm curious, what scale do you guys work in? Because I mean the majority of the sites that I source are between, I'd say, the 2 and the 10 megawatt range. Anything above 10 megawatts right now is just absolutely gone. So, and the pricing that I'm seeing for electricity, you're saying 5 cent power. Unless you're hosted in South America, I don't really see where you're getting 5 cent power right now without some serious curtailment. So, or you're off grid, right? Like, I mean, that again, what I focus on. So I'm just curious as to, how you guys see the landscape that I see from the acquisition side on the land side.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking, I guess I operate, smaller than what you have going on. I'm more like 1 to 2 megawatts, and then that's on a case by case. It's easier to find, but um, there's local municipalities and whatnot that are willing to make deals. They need your service for some reason or another, and so you can still find prices like that at that scale. 2 to 10 megawatt, like you were mentioning, I could see that becoming more difficult because there's so much competition for it right now. And then, like you said, 10 plus. I mean, you're talking industrial or like enterprise scale data centers. So yeah, I could see there's none of that available.
These are some big numbers, guys. I'll just say.
Obvious, I see your hand.
We expect a lot of that to be
Yeah,
pointed at
so
Quai real soon.
comment on both, but on the diversification side, when looking at spec mining, I absolutely think that's the play to go. I mean, I get it. The shiny lore in the room of an altcoin miner launching, there's always a super value of getting in on it early, and you're able to reap some of those benefits early on. But as I alluded to before, it's like there's no guarantees that that profit rate per day is going to stay, and that's the challenge. Is traditionally, like we've seen, I mean, look at you know Tari, we've seen Lithium, Caspa. It's like it comes out of the gate and it looks like God's gift to the world for miners because the profitability is $100+ a day. The
Speaking of
challenge
Caspa,
is most of these networks and the hash rate is not mature enough. And so what happens is these miners come out and decimate them. Great example. I got in as a great experiment for the channel on miner by Bitmain. They came out with it literally like they made 200 of those ASICs, and not even like a handful of them were online and were far more hash rate than the entire network was originally. It was insane amount of 10x that it was, and it just decimated. And I mean, great example. Miner came out at that moment. The miner was announced. It was worth $60. It shipped right around the same amount. By the time it got to me in 2 weeks, it was making $6 as these units came online.
Oh no!
And so these are the things that you need to now. Granted, that was the most extreme case I've ever seen in the industry. Like in 2 weeks, and it decimated that entire network. But that being said, I think it's very important that you need to take some of these risks as well, because at the end of the day, you're in this for profits. So allocating a very small portion
I wonder
of your
what's
farm,
happening
whether
in
it's
the
home
Caspa
mining,
Discord these days.
mid-size mining, or we saw Mara do a small setup with their Caspa miners at one point, and experimenting with it, but taking those profits right away. I think that's the biggest one out there. As many have alluded to on this panel, be very careful with altcoin mining because it ends up biting you in the ass. Like the hard part is it might not be 2 weeks later, but it could be 6 months or a year later, and then you're like, man, I'm shutting this off. Is it profitable anymore? And so those are definitely some gambles. And I will just say, make sure you take those profits. On the second part, talking about curtailment a little bit, and just what we're seeing with power costs and such. Curtailment, man, is becoming more and more common, especially here in the United States. I don't ship my units, my ASICs, anywhere outside the United States. I just don't trust it. Too many horror stories last bull run with hosting outside of the United States, units getting seized. I mean, look how many different bans, different countries really banned Bitcoin mining. But that being said, curtailment is becoming more and more popular. And I think that unfortunately that's just because where we are with the current power grid in the United States, and we are really pushing it. And I'm not blaming data centers. I'm not blaming Bitcoin mining farms. It's just our entire, look at it, electric cars left and right everywhere. We're utilizing more power, and so the challenge is the United States is in this power crisis, and I'm so thrilled to see that we are seeing. If you guys follow the U.S. Department of Energy on Twitter, there's a lot of talks about revitalizing some nuclear power plants. I'm in Pennsylvania. There's 3 Mile Island. They're going to be reopening that back up. And there's a bunch of other, initiatives for nuclear, but nuclear is not a fast thing, as we all know. We're not going to benefit from that in the next 3 years. It's going to take years to get new nuclear power plants up and running. So what's left? Well, it's curtailment, and unfortunately, I think it's the new norm. And finding anything outside of that in the U.S., I would definitely question to be like, what does that agreement and contract look like?
Very well put. Obvious. Oz, I see your hand, and I would love to hear from Christopher as well. Haven't heard from him yet in the space.
Yeah, a lot to digest there. I had a couple things I want to talk about, but I kept hearing more and more stuff coming through. So, see, I'll start with saying like with my operation, I guess I'll kind of tell you what works for me, but with my situation, it's not going to be the same as everyone else. I was running at 4 cents a kilowatt hour power. Now I'm up to 6 cents a kilowatt hour because of Facebook. They're doing a data center in my area. Um, but anyways, I've spoke about this before, and I think GPUs are going to be one of your best bets for spec mining. I mean, in CPUs too. I do have some CPUs, but GPUs are great for that. There's a lot of opportunities there when it comes to new coins launching. So if someone's looking at upgrading and stuff, that's kind of what I've stuck around. I've always kind of been GPU based and ASICs, and just kind of keeping basically not putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm not going all in on Jaw, not going all in on Script, trying to even everything out. So when opportunities come around, I have the equipment there and ready to go, and then securing my power rate. I guess the next thing that I've seen people doing more often is kind of like a hybrid setup where if you find, cheap power of, utilizing some solar and getting your kilowatt hour down even further. I've actually been exploring that in my area and looking into it. And I do know that with a couple of estimates that we were looking at able to get our power down from 6 cents a kilowatt hour all the way down to 3. It would take a lot of solar, but I think in the future, I see power just going up, and the people who get the cheapest power are going to win in the mining space. I mean, that's just at the end of the day. If you're running at scale, if you don't have cheap power, you're not going to be able to stay on. So you've got to locate that power energy source, and then plan everything around what you're getting what your cost is. It's mining. A mining is vastly different from somebody who's running at say 5 or 6 cents kilowatt hour to somebody who's maybe at 10 or 12. The types of equipment you'd be running and everything is entirely different. So learning kind of what your energy market's like, trying to figure out ways to keep your costs down for power, maybe utilizing solar. Those are all things that are going to help people mine here in the future.
Yeah, that was super well said. Can you guys hear me? Am I coming through?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, from the Quai perspective, there's a lot of great advice. I think hobbyists hit the nail on the head thoroughly. You need to be careful. Obviously, with experience under your belt, you kind of realize that profitability is something you're not going to want to chase. But especially for the proof of work paradigm, we've kind of been put into like an interesting position where basically new networks really aren't able to show up, right? And it's to what you guys have been talking about this entire time, and it's perfect advice. You need to be careful, right? Ultimately, out there, you can see a project that looks like a golden egg, and it could just fall apart within a month. And that's something that obviously we take pretty seriously, of being kind of the new guys on the block. Someone earlier had mentioned you need to look for ubiquity when it comes to hardware choices. Perfect. Yeah, you don't want to buy an altcoin ASIC and then have it just go kaput, right? That's why with the SOAP upgrade, you're able to use your SHA-256 ASICs. You're able to use your Script ASICs. You're able to use GPUs to mine Quai. We factor that into the design choice when we put that together. Obviously, there's great. Everyone has just laid down tons of alpha. If you're new to mining, listen to what everyone has said so far. I think the best piece of advice, of course, is to look into the team, look into the B2B, look into if they're docs, look into the academic and rigor of the actual team itself. Right, I was literally researched and developed out of UT Austin. It comes with 8 years of development. You can say it's like the Cardano approach, if you will. But the whole idea behind it was obviously to try to get it right the first time.
Don't be throwing Cardano here. No way.
No, that's I complimented that. That's a compliment. Cardano approach was methodical and slow and not rush it out of the gate. That was a compliment to Cardano because again, that's a great approach. As everyone has said, teams that really try to rush hype, they ultimately end up kind of failing. So, anyways, just to cap it all off, what I was really saying was that being the new guys on the block, I think we're not asking to call us an altcoin or shitcoin. We're not asking you to take a major chance. We want you to sell. In fact, it's built into the SOAP mechanics to basically negate that. In worst case scenario, be net neutral just due to the buyback and burn flywheel we've implemented. Alan, if you want to say a couple words there, absolutely. But again, that we wanted think of it as like a slow burn, right? Very methodical, and to make sure last year when we actually launched mainnet that most of the major pieces were grounded for the long term, not for a short term hype cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let you finish, but the Cardano reference is just funny. No, I mean you're right. I think we've been very strategic in trying to plan out all the things, and I think we're just passionate about the space, and we want crypto to win. So, I think we've been in our own bubble in this research and in this R&D, and we've obsessed and we've kind of emerged from this cave in a sense. And I think that any first year for any proof of work project is tough, especially in a broader altcoin bear cycle. And over the past 2025, you really saw most altcoins kind of get crushed outside of a few glimmers, like in July. And Bitcoin caught this nice like institutional bid, and now we're like, I didn't
What
listen to
just
the full space
happened?
before, but probably like questioning this concept of the 4 year
What's up,
cycle,
energy?
and looking at
Hey,
all of
hang
the
on for
liquidity
the
flows
Kipper
across
tips,
across the
guys.
board.
I'm holding
But no,
down
I mean, I
the
think what
Quai
we're doing with
Network
Quai is
official
cool,
account
and
at
I
the
would
moment.
want miners to dive into it and do the research yourself. Obviously, we have a lot of time and effort that we've done to build the system, and we just want what's best for crypto as a whole, and for miners to be part of that.
Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, yeah, super well said. I was mostly done with that last point, and I think everyone's really hit the nail on the head. And like Alan had said, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, given the market of the last year, especially if you're Bitcoin focused only, you don't want to look at really anything else. And so, yeah, I'll just say once again, the design decisions, especially from, being ubiquitous when it comes to hardware choices and hatching algorithms, making sure that we implemented things from day one, make sure that they would last a long time. That went into the whole broad process. If you're going to spec mine, obviously you're going to want to keep a majority of your actual rigs on like, Bitcoin is what I'd recommend. But then if you're taking a chance, yeah, use a minor percentage there. And when you come to Quai, we don't care if you sell. It's built into our mechanisms to basically shore that up. In fact, we somewhat encourage it. So yeah.
Neil, please. I know you're unmuted. Then, if Landy, if you're there as well afterwards, love to hear from you. If you've got any thoughts on the current combo.
Yeah, I was just gonna address a couple things that a couple people were talking about. It was I was gonna ask the group who does mine
Interesting
altcoins,
space.
like what your ultimate objective in doing that is if you're actually holding on to the altcoins for personal reasons, or if you're just selling it, if you're just trading it for Bitcoin, ultimate goal. And then in that case, then I want to know the logic behind it, because you're investing money into a not cheap ASIC to mine a coin, and then you're selling it to for the sell pressure, driving the price down on the very thing that you're. And I guess I could see the short-term gains, like any trading game with altcoins, but like for the long term, what's the long-term objective of making investments like that? Or you just plan on switching over to Bitcoin mining at some point, and you're just financing your infrastructure? Or I can't figure it out logically, and I'm being honest, I'm being genuine when I ask this. So I just want to know people's motivations.
Landy, if you wanted to comment here, if you have any thoughts, would love to hear from you. If not, happy to hit the hands as well.
Is this in reference to mining altcoins? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, that was what I was asking. Like, what's your objective for mining the
Oh,
altcoin? Like, ultimate objective? Are you just mining it for profitability, probably trading it into Bitcoin, or are you actually holding whatever line garbage it is? Because like multiple people on here had said, you're trying to catch the wave of when that coin is profitable or when that miner is profitable. So then essentially it's just a different form of trading. Whereas you always,
mm-hmm.
what are you looking for in the end result? Because if you are just trading it off and you're trying to catch a wave, then you're ultimately driving the price of the underlying asset down by constant sell pressure.
Well,
Not with Quai, I will say.
yeah, Quai has a unique setup, which I'm very excited about, and which is one of the reasons why I'm here, is to learn more about it as the Quai team has been building. But I myself haven't done a ton of altcoin mining outside of bridging the gap with ASICs a very long time ago at this point, when we did not have access to ASICs and we were still running GPUs for Bitcoin mining, and we had to bridge and wait. So we actually mined Ethereum proof of work. So that was a long time ago. These days, the most amount of exposure that I personally have to any kind of, I guess, altcoin mining would be merge mining. And that is to, offset or bridge the gap or get things up started. Um, you know, there's a lot of upfront costs when going off grid, right? But the advantage of going off grid, which is where I have been focused for years now, and it's been a slog. But Petro knows this. Um, but now, we've been in the past few years, we've seen a big crack open there, but it's a lot of upfront costs, right? I mean, some smaller players, they're still in the kilowatt range, and when you start pushing into the, 2 to 5 megawatt, or start pushing up towards that 10 megawatt, even off grid, now you're talking about pretty large operations. And that upfront cost, for some players, not me in particular, because I'm focused on Bitcoin mining, is to offset some of the initial cost for equipment procurement. This all depends on the deals that are being set up, and like what are the terms of those deals and that kind of thing. So there's flexibility there, but most are just trying to support networks and ride that wave to offset costs, right?
Oh,
Or to hunker down
yeah.
when when
Quai
we
Club
have
hooked it
hash
up
rate rolling
long
over
time
or
ago
something
during
like
Golden
that.
Age.
Now, I'm not the
So
guy on stage here that can
it's
really speak to this
kind of a Quai
robustly,
hat.
because I'm mainly focused on mining Bitcoin. I do know there's others here on stage, though, that can speak to it a little bit more saliently than I can, or at least I thought there was.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
now
I
I can't see the stage anymore. I'm sorry.
yeah, X was bugging for me a bit there. I'll chime in, Landy, and I always appreciate your analysis, particularly on the Bitcoin mining market. I think you guys do a good job looking at what mining does to the Bitcoin price, because it is very intertwined, right? Bitcoin as an asset has this structural sell pressure from miners that have to cover costs. You and that's all the way down from spec mining with GPUs all the way up to the largest miners, right? I mean, like you talked about with Marathon mining Caspa. Well, they have to cover costs if they mine Caspa, so they might have to sell some. A lot of the big, largest miners that are public have liquidation ratios of Bitcoin from 70 to 85%. And as much as they would love to hold on to their Bitcoin to grow a treasury, more often than not, they can't, because they have to finance hardware and continue to grow. And that's one of the things about proof of work that is so unique in terms of consensus mechanisms and structure, is it is always extremely competitive. Hobbyist, you said you ordered this miner, you thought it was going to be great, and then it turned out to be junk. Well, that kind of happens over time to all miners, just because new miners are getting created constantly. And so the competitive landscape for mining is tighter than it's ever been. I think the margins are compressing more than they ever have, especially with AI being an alternative option to miners. And so from that side, you're seeing this kind of trade-off, particularly in the larger mining landscape, where it's you know from what we're doing, kind of interesting, because it's a higher profitability right now for miners, and it's the same hardware that people already have. So SHA script and other hardware that people already have mining these other tokens. And so the risk actually isn't that high. It's just the current expenditure and the kind of ongoing OPEX versus the CAPEX cost that other altcoins have. And so I think that friction and that low uh, investment to be able to do merge mining with Quai and participate in that ecosystem makes it really competitive.
By I had my hand held up and didn't realize no one could see it, so no big deal. I'm just like patiently waiting. Wanted to comment on the one individual's thoughts on like why do you altcoin mine? Like why bother with that, down that avenue? Great question, by the way. Um, so I meet with all walks of life, individuals that want to buy their first ASIC miner, or people that have $500,000 in capital, and everybody is okay. I want to stack Bitcoin. Love it, great, store of value. Um, Good call, love to hear it. But I'm not recommending a Bitcoin miner to them. And you might be like, well, wait, why not? And I get it. If you're coming from the decentralization school of thought, awesome. There's enough massive Bitcoin mining farms out there right now, decentralization is
Ah,
taken care of. And then all the home miners with the small little guys, awesome. But at the
X
end of
is
the day,
bugging.
I'm looking at
X spaces, guys. It barely works sometimes.
like, well, why? Why would you do such 500 terahash? And it's like, guys, at the end of the day, you're not running a charity. I say this all the time on here. You are in this for the profits. Now, I'm not holding it in Dogecoin. I'm converting it over to Bitcoin. So I'm getting the same result, but I'm finding a different avenue to get there. At the end of the day, you have to look at that dollar spent. How long is it going to take to make it back? Bitcoin mining, if you look at profitability on Bitcoin miners, man, it has not gone anywhere but down. And following the Bitcoin mining, the hardware and the technology advancement out there. Listen, I love Bitcoin, but Bitcoin mining sucks because of the fact of that hash rate's going up at an insane rate. I mean, just look at the network hash rate. And that means the little pieces of the pie that are left for anyone buying one ASIC or buying 100 or 1,000 ASICs is significantly less. And every day it will be less. And so looking at altcoins, let's say outside of script mining, which many people have commented on, it's the same avenue. I mean, if you got into Caspa with the first batch of ASICs that launched, you were making like $900 a day. Imagine just converting that over to Bitcoin. Amazing. You know what I mean? Absolutely amazing. Now, we talked about the risk. There's risk with it. I get it. You're buying money printers at the end of the day. That's what I tell people. You're buying a money printer. It is an asset and it creates crypto. I think everyone can agree our end result here is rolls up to Bitcoin. Like that's where our kind of our crosshairs are. The avenues to get there, is really up
Alan.
to you.
Boo. Alan's down thumb there.
Yeah, great point there, Navius. And yeah, I just refreshed my screen as well, and I saw a couple hands, so I appreciate that. Alpha Mine, and then Oz after, and then I think Sozo's also up on stage too. So big day.
Yeah, that well said, hobbyist. And I also want to just like respond a little bit to what Neil, the question he posed. And I think there's a fundamental truth about mining that no matter what scale you're at, we all agree on this. And at least I would think this is my overarching principle is kind of like efficiency over everything. And whoever has the lowest rate and the most efficient systems, rigs, whatever it is, they're going to win out at the end of the day. They're going to survive the bear. And so, you know, when I think about Bitcoin mining and when I think about what Quai has just done recently, their proof of work, in my personal opinion, and I'm just a guy, whatever, proof of work mining has fundamentally changed forever and it will never go back. And to what Hobby has said, like if you can, okay, so if you have SHA 256 ASICs and you have script ASICs and you can fall back and mine Doge or Doge and LTC or Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. But right now, if you just literally hop into your UI or your management software and mine to a different stratum and mine Quai and you're making 4x, why would you not do that? And the system is designed such that it's selling is that Chris already elaborated on that, so I won't be redundant. But like in my mind, efficiency over everything, risk tolerance is absolutely very important. So, but like if you already own or you're already deploying at scale or you're interested in owning SHA or script, it's like, why wouldn't you do the most clever and efficient version of ARB mining that you can? And so I just wanted to say that because that's kind of my answer to Neil's question. And I like,
Arb
I
mining.
agree things kind of bleed
Arbitrage
into
mining,
Bitcoin
guys.
in a certain way, but like, I'm also highly convicted on some other stories too. And so I'm always changing. And I think it's smart, at least in my opinion, to be adaptable to kind of new information. And so I'll leave it there.
Yeah, appreciate that take there. Oz, please.
Yeah, so I'll expand upon that. I think ARB mining is huge. My main goal, I think, for me at least, is I only mine as that's my only form of income right now, and um, my main goal basically is to get more hardware, and do that the most efficient way possible. How am I going to take the power that I have and make the most possible with it? Otherwise, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, there's been coins before that want to stack, but I'll mine something else because it makes more money and then purchase that coin. So at the end of the day, it's just about how much money I can make with the power that I have. So if I have 400 amps at each little site that I have, I'm trying to maximize that earning potential at that site. I'm not like someone who's got just a big amount of power and is going to shove in a bunch of Bitcoin ASICs. When there's a lot of other miners out there that's making more money per kilowatt hour spent than I would with just your typical Bitcoin miner. So again, for me,
Huge opportunity
most
right
of it,
now,
I love the
guys,
hardware. Um,
for
I try
Gary
to stack as
Cardone
much
to learn
hardware
a
as
little bit
possible
more about Quai.
and try to keep upping my earning
This
potential
is
with the amount of power that
becoming
I have. And
the
as far as
largest
stacking altcoins, I'm a little bit different. A lot of
mining
people fall into
space
Bitcoin.
on
I'm
X.
I'm a XMR bull, so I love my Monero and I'm stacking Quai. Those are the two that kind of align with my principles and things that I like. I like privacy, like a lot of other things that they offer. So those are the kind of the two that I'm spearheading right now. I do have Bitcoin, but overall, I think Monero is what Bitcoin was kind of supposed to be when I first looked into it. When I looked at Bitcoin, I kind of thought Bitcoin was Monero until you started digging in and learning about the blockchain. So, anyways, that's kind of my 2 cents there. Is I mine whatever is most profitable, and I try to accumulate more hardware.
Sozo would love to get you into the convo. So you joined a few minutes ago. If you're there, of course, you're muted if you're speaking.
Hey, Cade. Yeah, I was having some connectivity issues for sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little bit quiet. Like sounds like you're a little far away, but yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it sounded like there was a theme as I listened to the different spaces. You're sharpening the saw here in the new year. I mean, RWA's got pretty focused levels on liquidity during the trading space, and I heard the questions earlier about why to mine, various coins with Quai here on the stage. Earlier in the year, I think to start, we were kind of zeroing in on the lower footprint that is required from an infrastructure and electricity standpoint. And, as we see the micro points of view start to assemble here, we really see that there's a lot of lighter footprint and some waste heat and energy that's available. And the more that we can start to look for that low-hanging fruit and integrate these systems, there's, monetizable value here for sure. Are you seeing the same thing? And are there like low-hanging fruit opportunities that you see that we should be putting together right now, Cade?
Well, can you guys hear me still? It's still reconnecting for me. Are you able
Yep,
to
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I only caught like the last half sentence of that, unfortunately. I had to reconnect. It's been all day, dude. It's honestly been so painful. Um, yeah, did not catch much of what you just said, unfortunately. If it was directed at me, I mean, it could have been directed at the whole panel. I only heard like literally the last half sentence there.
Yeah, I'll switch down to listener and come back up.
Cool. Well, I think probably the rest of the panel heard. It was just me. Like I just had to reconnect back to the space. That's what I meant. Lanny, were you able to hear Sozo?
Yeah, yeah, I could
Oh,
hear
okay.
him. It was he sounded better there right before he dropped down. But if he's come back up, should be able to hopefully hear him.
Cool. Cool. Right. I didn't know if you want to take a stab at it. I just literally didn't hear what he had said. But if you want to take a stab at it, if you had any thoughts or comments on anything Sozo had mentioned.
Me personally, no, because I wasn't actually there. I was there for a little bit, but I had to jump around with the RWA space as it relates to kind of what we've been talking about through the various spaces here today. We'll see if he can come back and maybe ask that question again.
Cool. No, it's all good. All good. I know we still have like 10 minutes or so left in the space. Al, I want to pass over to you to see what kind of trends you're seeing over the horizon for 2026. Obviously, we're a couple weeks into the new year. A lot of excitement in the industry overall.
Yeah, I think Ozzy said it well. Privacy. We are fighting the good fight for privacy. We want to enable financial freedom, financial sovereignty, the ability to control and custody your assets and push forward with
Well,
crypto.
we
I
lost.
think
Oh, no.
there's a ton of stuff happening with government regulation. And
Yeah, I think
I
we
think as
lost
much as
Gary
governments want to try and contain and understand
Cardone.
crypto is meant to be owned and operated by people. And it's the government trying to translate crypto to people that aren't at the base floor of it is a good thing, because then people can kind of have that view and way in which they can help understand it. And I think that we're starting to get to the point where it's slowly eating more and more of the world. Stable coins are going to go to trillions of dollars in market cap. You're going to see more and more banks issue stable coins and have ways that payments are happening natively in stable coins, as well as RWAs, as Sosa was saying, with the emergence of stocks on chain and trading 24/7 and all of these things that become more hyper connected. And so I think that trend will continue. I think the trends around energy, compute, and crypto will continue to be very, very essential. Everyone on this space here that's mining is plugged into that directly, right? You're literally taking energy, you're doing computation, and you're creating money. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And so that global coordination mechanism will only get stronger. Bitcoin is leading the way on that. As much as I, like to talk our book with Quai, I think that Bitcoin is critical, and I'm very, very excited for what the future of Bitcoin has. I think there's a lot of developments happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem that will enable more use cases, and there's also a fight happening with Bitcoin that's kind of seemed to calm down recently in terms of like knots versus core, but I think it is a good thing to look at there from what Bitcoin should be and how it should operate. You're going to see more innovation across the rest of the crypto world. While most people here are focused on Bitcoin, Bitcoin's only 53% of the market. So I think there's a lot of other things in crypto that are worthy of attention and are worthy of consideration when you look at what is in store for the future. And I think that with what we're doing with SOAP, and we didn't dive too much into technicals, we can maybe save that for another space. But what we're doing here is exciting, and I definitely encourage any miners that are skeptical or want to dive in further to take a look. Christopher is saying that we've done our research, we've done our time, we've emerged out of this cave, as I've said, and we've strategized on how to make this more appealing for people. And I think that the further people look, they'll be able to come to the same conclusion as us.
You're leaving money on the table if you're not mining Quai. Just telling you right now, if you got SHA-256 ASICs, Script ASICs, GPUs, if you're not mining Quai, you're literally leaving money on the table.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I love it. Alpha Mine, any thoughts on any trends or anything Alan had just mentioned as well?
Yeah, the space has been real interesting this year. I think we've all noticed that privacy narrative. I kind of agree with Ozzy a little bit on leaving money on the table if you have these units. Definitely, I definitely agree with him. I guess like overarchingly, trends are
Hear that,
at least
guys?
where I'm at, and in the United States, I think most of us probably agree like retail
You're
home
leaving money on the
electricity prices
table if
are
you're
just
not
kind of
mining
climbing. At
Quai.
least that's what's happening for me, and so I always worry about decentralization and like just like a handful of hosting companies and a handful of Bitcoin mining going on at like under the roof of a few companies, and so I don't know. I guess I like the disruption that we're seeing recently with what Quai has proposed. So I don't want to just ramble. I don't have too many thoughts. I really love this space. I largely agree with like what everybody's sharing here, and I'll say my portfolio looks like mostly exposure to Bitcoin, but I don't want to miss out on some of that upside, and so. When I put a lot of time and effort and attention, and I'm closely paying attention to a project, and I'm like, damn, like these guys are unstoppable. What they built here kind of like checks all my boxes. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to allocate a little bit of, value or whatever it is, whatever makes sense for me or you into that project so that, I'm still safe in my long-term storage, my Bitcoin, but like I can still play the game and kind of catch some of this upside. And then whatever, maybe you go back into your Bitcoin because you love it, whatever. So yeah, I just figured I'd throw that out there, but good stuff, guys.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate you for coming through. Definitely, guys, give the speakers up here a follow if you're in the crypto mining world at all. A lot of these guys are making their own content to keep you up to date with the markets, and so if you guys want to stay on top of it, these are definitely the right people to follow. Hobbyist, also the same question over to you. Any trends coming up that you got your eye on, things you're paying attention to, as we keep heading on into 2026?
Yeah, so brought up here was privacy coins, and I look back and Zcash was one over the last several months that popped up, and as I said before, the beginning of the space is these bubbles pop up, and I try not to pivot, I try not to react because of the fact of the past being burned, but Zcash has done pretty well. My Z15 Pro I had and sold 2 years ago or whatever. wish I still had it, and do not, and don't recommend people going out and trying to snag one. But Zcash is one with the privacy coin side, and now we're starting to see it with Monero. Monero was brought up before as well. Now, granted, it isn't ASIC mineable, but at the same time, from the CPU side, I mean, take a look at it. What other coins are we seeing that have hit all-time highs that are mature projects that have been around for years? Not many, right? We're not seeing Litecoin, we're not seeing Dogecoin right now, but like Monero
Truth.
caught me off guard. I'm not one to follow CPU mining in any way, shape, or form. It's never really been my passion, and I was really focused on GPUs. But that being said, anybody who has been mining Monero for years, kudos to you. You got to be sitting on a decent bag right now. As I always tell people, take some profits. I'm not telling you to sell your whole bag, just make sure you take your profits. But that being said, just yesterday got word of a solo Monero miner coming out. It does 13,000 was it kilohash versus what a 3900X does, which is 12. So massive disruption that's going to hit. If you have CPUs, I'd sell them now, because the second some of these small home miners come out that are doing, I mean, think of it. I did the math. It does, if you had a 3900X, which is the most popular CPU miner, you need 1,089 of them to keep up with a $399 home miner. Yeah, get
Whoa.
rid of those CPUs when you can. And then on top of that,
Whoa.
that this is all coming after, we had the X9 getting announced from Bitmain. That'll be coming out here. I think it's April or July, and who knows what's in between. This is only what I've heard and what I know. And so,
When
yeah,
the
I'm seeing
price
a
goes up, the
big push for
incentive
Monero.
is
Here come those,
there.
I should call them ASICs because they're not really ASICs, but it's something I'm keeping a very close eye on at this point.
Solo mining Monero.
Well, there you have it. Alpha,
We
straight
just,
from the
we just,
hobbyists. I
yeah,
love
we
it.
just learned it.
Pedro,
Educational
if you have any
space,
thoughts
everyone.
or anything you wanted to add, I'd love to pass you the mic.
You know, I'm learning here. I don't really delve too much into the crypto mining world. I have a long, long time ago in a land far away before uh, when we were still zip tying graphics cards to racks, if y'all remember those days. Um,
The Baker's racks, they were the best ones. Heck yeah.
uh the baker's racks, that's right. So I would say number one, check out my posts. I post the Fort Worth Bitcoin meetup. Please come out. Uh, Although we are Bitcoin focused, we welcome everyone. Also, in that vein, um, I'm hosting during BitBlock Boom the meetup of meetups, which will be this year themed proof of stake. And so we'll be running around the stockyards in Fort Worth and going to cattlemen. So if you've seen Landman, you know where we're going. And so come on out, meet your fellow Bitcoiners and miners and such. And yeah, thanks for a great conversation. I learned a lot.
Got a lot of Texas presence on the space. Petro, we're just a shot down 35 from you. Down in Austin.
Well, man, I heard you guys are talking about working with the university, and I'm pretty tied with TCU, so excited to be making some announcements here soon.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll have to track that.
Love it. Love it. Oz, any final thoughts? If not, head over to Landy as well for any final closing statements.
Yeah, just been a great space with you guys. It's always good to hear, and everyone else has to talk about, and seems like a great space for people to learn. You always learn so much in these spaces, so I appreciate being up here with all you guys. Just keep them going. Good luck mining. It's been a blessing having Quai come through and really pump up some profitability numbers in
Welcome,
the
Steph.
farm. That's been absolutely amazing with current markets. Yeah, could be happy.
We just found out there was a
I wanted
solo
to share one
Monero
story because
miner coming
Petro brought
out.
up the university.
It's
I have a
gonna
fun
nuke the
story just
whole
from
market for Monero.
mining from back in 2017. So Bitcoin had long been a thing then, but I tried to get ASIC to run on campus actually at UT, and it got all the way up to the president. I think it was Fendez at the time, and he shot that one down. I think it's cool to see how far we've come from like trying to do that on campus to now like being able to do spaces and it become more acceptable and people are like, all right, mining is all normal because I think at some point there was stigma, but don't want to derail that. But yeah, it was just a fun anecdote.
So just FYI, that A&M has now got that going on for you. So I just had to rub that in your face a little bit.
Y'all probably beat us to it. Yeah, y'all probably beat us to it on that one. You guys had
No, A&M beat everybody to it. I believe A&M actually has
You
had the
you
most
guys are
serious mining lab of the
getting some
universities.
insight into
Now,
the
my goal is to show them up. So we'll see how I do.
timeless rivalry here in
okay, well, we'll
Texas.
make the blockchain. They can just mine it.
Aggies versus
I think it's so funny you said that. Actually, I don't share this story
Aggies
quite
versus
often since it's pretty deep lore for me. I was
Texans.
building a startup in 2019 that dealt in private school security operations, and I was working very closely, obviously, with the C-suite. And I won't mention this school, but it's a very prominent one that's in Connecticut. It's a private school. Average salary is like 80 grand a year. And I was working with the director of technology. It's actually crypto mining that actually convinced me to actually make the leap into this industry. As once I broke his walls down, we're speaking candidly. He told me he had a whole mining operation set up in their computer lab that the school didn't necessarily know about. And until that point, I'd always thought that crypto and crypto mining was still kind of like shadowy coders in the basement somewhere. So it was actually what broke the seal for me and convinced me to make the leap into the industry. And that's obviously when I joined the proof of stake world and did some DeFi with Lido and some other things. Okay, great once again, and everybody. Super honored, of course, to be here and share all the alpha with you guys. You drop knowledge like it's your business. Obviously, it is. So really appreciate all of that. On trends, just briefly, it's obviously the institutional cycle. This goes without saying. It's definitely a maturity of markets. It definitely lends itself to a very interesting year ahead of us because we're going to start seeing these like institutionally driven narratives that, and frankly, are going to crash and burn. And it's going to be kind of interesting to see how institutions react to this, especially because obviously most are risk averse and approach things very methodically, and they don't necessarily want to make investments that they're going to lose on. But you see a lot of confidence simultaneously, almost frothy in certain areas, certain sectors, things like RWAs. So it's going to be kind of interesting from a mining perspective. Obviously, you're going to see the boon from Bitcoin, but we're obviously going to see some other major, I hope, alternatives, if you will, pop up and really move from spec mining to main mining. Obviously, Quai would be one of those. But yeah, once again, it's going to be an interesting year. Definitely keep an eye on privacy. If I have to shill it. Obviously, I think energy-based money is going to have its day. Elon keeps talking about it. We love Bitcoin, but we don't think Bitcoin's the perfect energy-based money. That's Chi, which also happens to be a privacy coin. Just saying. But we'll see. And like I said, I think it's going to be cool to watch, especially as some of these narratives crash and burn. Again, thanks so much, Caden. Thanks everyone for showing up. It's been great as usual.
Yeah, appreciate it. And your story reminds me of the one that I always remember when my father had an opportunity to have generational wealth. He was a computer science teacher. He built out a lot of the curriculum for schools across the country, and he had access to a army of computers and sorts of stuff that could have been mining Bitcoin, Ethereum. And he had some kid walk up to him apparently. He remembered this a couple years ago once I got into the Bitcoin and crypto world. Like, yeah, so I had a generational miss a few years ago. It's just like he told me that story, and dude, the amount of computers this guy had access to, I mean, we would genuinely be rich. So yeah, shout out to my dad on that one for a miss, but hopefully, yeah, that was it. I'm not gonna lie, that was like, yeah, that's tough to come back from, Dad. That's rough, but it is what it is, I guess. And we got a few others who maybe made that mistake, so it makes me feel a little bit better.
That's just your own family's Bitcoin pizza story, right? It happened.
Pain, pain. Well, I appreciate that take, and Landy, I'll throw it over to you for any final thoughts or comments you wanted to add to the combo if you have any. If not,
Sorry,
it's all good.
I'm just coming in the door real quick here. I've been listening and I'm laughing behind the scenes here because boy oh boy, the deep lore. Back in 2011, I was helping to build out an educational program for a school's WASC accreditation and then eventually national accreditation. And I also had a computer lab with a bunch of servers that we had donated, HP and Dell servers that we had donated that we started to mine with in that computer lab, and it was a pretty sizable computer lab. And I actually still have as a kind of memento. I still have two of the HP servers that we first used to mine some Bitcoin. So it's a sentimental thing, but my wife keeps telling me that we need to get rid of those two servers. So um, a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of people in education, because the cypherpunk ethos, started independently, but in conjunction with higher learning, right? And at that time, we were working on teaching cryptography, and what better way than these newfangled networks that are being built out there? So we're using it as an example, and it turned into really cool in the longer term
Ah, X is
successful, and
bugging again. Sorry,
growing
guys.
and
This
even
space is almost done.
facilitating and encouraging mining. So really cool stuff. And I liked Alan's quip. It's like they can we'll build a blockchain. They can mine it. That was
There's always got to be a little bit of EDM beef. So, just a little bit of beef. Just a little bit. Nah, I appreciate that take there, lady. And again, from all the traders, all the miners in these spaces, and everyone in the audience, thank you all
Yeah.
space with you. We appreciate it a ton. If you learned something and enjoyed yourselves, had a little bit of entertainment, if that's what it was, if you're here to learn, get some alpha, you got a little bit of that in space as well. So sure to follow. On the stage, follow Quiet Network for the stage. We got Alan, Christopher, the team up. Follow here. Enjoy these sorts of panels. We put them together basically every single day. We have some kind
Sorry,
of stream
guys.
or space going.
I'm
Hopefully a
hanging
lot
on
more.
to the last second here for the
Yeah,
algorithm's
if you
sake.
guys want to find out more about Quiet specifically, link at the top of the space take you to their site. I recommend you guys
Isn't this bad? This is
pull it
so
up to
bad.
kind of things. If you're a miner,
It
consider
should
getting started.
not be
You
this
can send the team
buggy.
a message if you have any questions
I
as
I
well.
have I have no idea why it's this buggy.
These things happen. So if you have some like real questions,
Alright, we're gonna play some tunes over the
as
top.
well.
Screw that shit.
And they get
Hang on, folks. We got some Kipper tips to hand out. Give me a second here.
that might fly. So I think
We got Quai Squad, Energy, Steph, Dan.Quai. Kipper tips coming in hot. Stand by, folks. There we go. Space has ended. Back to the business. Here we go. All right. Man, we're stacking the referrals over here, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Quai Squad in the house. At least they were. They might have gone to sleep. It's a little late out there. I think it's almost 4 a.m. over in India right now. But these guys are killing it. Really respect them joining in the chat late at night. That was an absolute great space. Guys, I learned something huge every time I tune in that space. I'm gonna have to dig it. I don't think anybody else is talking about this new Monero solo miner. The fact that you need over 1,000 of the best CPUs to mine Monero in order to compete with one of these $400 solo miners, that's insane. That is insane. That's gonna be a huge shock to the Monero network. Massive. Like almost on the scale of what happened to Caspa when Caspa's ASICs first launched. Shout out hobbyists who had that story to tell. Um, but yeah, I guess let's get back to it. Okay, Quai Squad got hooked up. Shout out Quai Squad. Energy in the house. What's up, Energy? What's up, Energy? Hats off to you for the questions in the last tech AMA with Dr. K, man. You kind of inspired the topic of our upcoming Quai Friday tomorrow. So appreciate you diving in, engaging with the team. Any and all feedback, we take it all. And then Steph, man, that was a crazy chat we had earlier today, Steph. Just gonna say it. More of those, please. More of those, please. What up, Matt O? We're just lining up the Kipper tips here. We were a little delayed. We were hanging out on the Wolf Crypto space. Hopefully you caught some of that. Let's see here. We got to get Dan.Quai hooked up. Dan, how's your mining rigs coming, man? Right, like, can you scale fast enough? Holy cow. Holy cow. Boom! Guys, Dan is learning in the trenches, so you don't have to. Look at this. Just saved myself 15% by switching to Team Red Miner on Stratum X. Nice. Good work, man. Good work. Nice, nice. Alright, who's next? Who's next? Matt O in the house. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. Matt O, your new PFP, your profile pic, is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Quails are way cooler than whales. Just gonna say that. Oh yeah, we gotta like this tweet. Boom. There you go. There you go. Bullish. Absolutely. We got more of those conversations coming too, guys. Lot of big topics actually getting traction now. It goes a long way when you solve for the economics and create a real flywheel, right? Dang. Uh, Hindsight's 2020. You know, when I think like every time like I had my belief system just completely and utterly shattered by Dr. K, I was like, oh, in hindsight that makes total sense. Right? Proof of entropy minima compared to Satoshi Nakamoto's longest chain method. Like makes total sense. Makes perfect sense. The dual chain the dual token model makes perfect sense. Scaling privacy. Like, oh, like hindsight is 2020. All it took was a unique perspective and maybe, 10 years of lessons learned, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you finally see it because you realize like, oh, I can adapt, I can switch. Like this is easy. Like these are problems that I don't have to have anymore. I never have to worry about this ever again on Quai Network. And now like those opportunities that I was just like working so fucking hard to like realize and wrap my head around and make progress towards. Like it's like wide open doors now, guys. Like wide open doors. Like all those obstacles that were in your way before, all those like silly mistakes you were making because, you were thinking about things wrong, stuff like that. CSGO Dawn. Man, I can only hold your hand so much, bro. Quai Network, Q.ai, look it up. Pelagus Wallet is our wallet. Um, you got some Quai waiting for you over there. If you should have earned some Quai just for like getting signed up and getting Pelagus Wallet installed and the Kipper extension installed. So you should have Quai to tip if that's part of the onboarding process. Um, so yeah, I can't spend too much time on that, man. We're lining them up and knocking them down over here. What's next on deck? We got to make some more progress on these events. These things are coming right around the corner. Boom. All right, guys. We're going to Monerotopia. We need a logo. We need some stickers. We need a video ad. Okay. Acknowledged. Alright. Monerotopia, guys. It's coming up. What up, Christopher? I tip you all day, man. You ain't getting no Kipper tips right now. Just messing. Stand by. Dope. Okay. I will continue the chat by email. Is that okay? Have some questions about the stickers, etc. Rock and roll, guys. Rock and roll, guys. Monerotopia. Boom. Alright, SKF. Quad vesting page not working and no one answered in Discord. I also opened ticket if this project support transparency. Why is vesting page no claim schedule showing? At least if there's some bug. Let's show token numbers. Team is looking into all the tickets. Make sure you're providing all the details requested there. Oh man. How angry are yappers right now that their baby no longer works? It's gonna be a really interesting. Did anybody see this coming? I did. I did. I saw it coming. When your entire business depends on somebody else not knowing what the fuck you're doing, like, like seriously, guys. Oh man, this is not the way. This is not the way. This is not the way. At least it's going flat now. I mean, like, you know what's so much better than Kaito? Kipper. Look at this. How valuable is this tweet? Oh, I don't know. People think it's worth $1.88. How valuable is this tweet? Oh, I don't know. People think it's worth 67 cents. Matt O earned 67 cents on this tweet, right? If they keep making good content, they're gonna keep earning. And then guess what? We can find out who earns the most and who makes the most content. And then you know what we can do? We can build an algorithm off of that. Like, imagine that. Imagine building an algorithm based off of like people putting money where their mouth is. Let the market decide. Let the market decide. Fair market, proper market design is the way to go on all of these things, guys. So I mean, somebody invited me to Ethos the other day. Like this is a solid attempt. I went ahead and installed the extension just to see like what it looked like. I don't have an invite, and I never use my MetaMask account anymore, so this is kind of like not something I can really engage in. But this is a valid attempt. I mean, they're building a market around credibility. So Ethos has an angle here. I like this. It's not a bad idea. I think tipping posts is better. Because guess what the negative signal is on tipping? No tips. No tips. Right? Like what this system creates is an incentive to like actively downrank people. Right? So there's some alternative games that can be played here that aren't necessarily healthy for the market. In other words, like the signal is not as clear. The signal is not as clear as. Look at the dollar value of this tweet. That's a much clearer signal. Much clearer signal. Let's see here. Matt says just missed the end of the Monero conversation. Some miners coming over to Quai. No. What's super interesting though is what we just learned on the last space is that there is a solo miner for Monero that's being manufactured. That supposedly is the equivalent of over 1,000 of the most efficient CPUs for $400. So for $400, let's look at this. Best CPU for mining Monero. 5900X processors. Okay, so let's go to eBay. 5900X Ryzen CPU. What does this cost? $300. I'm gonna round up. Okay, so for the 5900, you're gonna spend $300, and you need 1,000 of these, and more than 1,000 of these to compete with a new miner entering the market that will only cost $400. That is totally going to disrupt Monero's network in terms of hash rate. Who knows what's going to happen to the price? But there is a massive gap that's going to be closed in either hash rate or price. Meanwhile, clearly, Monero's painting some numbers right now. They're experiencing some gains. So go them. Privacy, guys. Everybody wants it. It's a no-brainer. The fact that a lot of these blockchains were trying to build cash, but consider privacy a second thought is kind of hilarious. It makes sense for Bitcoin because they had to solve for the double spend issue. Like that's a massive innovation. Which is why I still think Bitcoin is a proof of concept. Like I'll be frank with you. Never ever is the first iteration of an idea like the final product. That's why Quai had multiple test nets and took almost a decade to fully mature and go to market. But anyways, where were we? Working on the Monero conference. All right, we got a. 60-second video for Monero Topia, and be aired during Monero. Here, let's do this somewhere else. Master Crypto Mentoring, welcome to the chat. We gotta hook you up with some Quai. Master Crypto Mentoring says use a Ryzen 9800. All right. All right. ESX roadmap. Oh man, this tweet is earning right now. Look at that, guys. That easy. That easy. That's how you start to push back against these centralized social media algorithms. Socialfy is not the answer. Native tipping is. Alright, let's see here. So it'll be 2.5k in Quai tokens. I need a title for your talk. You also need a 60-second video ad. So we should start thinking about this. Double D, TBD, man. You know, Dr. K probably says too much sometimes. But yes, he did say that stage 2 of SOAP could be going live early February. And they are seriously considering adding Zek and Monero to SOAP. So I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this. Love Snoop Dogg.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
This motherfucker
Look at
miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
Come on,
In
come
the
on.
heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
Alright.
The heat of battle.
Don't miss. Hilarious. Hilarious. Yeah. So, oh man, we gotta get some stickers out to Monerotopia. What's happening over here? Guys, Monerotopia, so quick story. If you're new around here, the team went down to Porkfest later 2025? When was Porkfest? Anyways, we met the Monero Talk folks. And Douglas Tuman and team, they were like really cool to hang out with. They asked some really great questions. Love their takes. They're hardcore, right? The only way you should be is hardcore, and they are definitely hardcore. Uh, Huge advocates of everything privacy and separating money from the state. When was Porkfest? Probably giving us all ADD right now. But then eventually, well, okay, so first of all, I sat down with them for a brief chat during Porkfest, which I'm trying to find right now. I think I was wearing this exact same hat. And then ultimately, Cubic decided to do a selfish mining attack against Monero, and Dr. K got involved in that.
If you just did work shares tomorrow, the worst thing Cubic could ever do is reorg one block, and they will do so in profit.
To watch the full episode, be sure to subscribe to
Boom.
Monero Talk on YouTube, Odyssey.
Here it is. So this is a long conversation, but basically it talks
Then
about,
obviously Monero.
like selfish mining was a really big issue. They were reorging like upwards of 20 blocks, I think, at one point. So it was a real issue. And ultimately with work shares, native in the protocol, like we have them here in Quai, um, we're immune to such attacks. And if Monero wanted to be as well, all they would have to do is implement work shares. Dr. K was working on a PR for them, but ended up getting slightly distracted by a bigger idea. As Christopher says, we owe Cubic a beer. Christopher, you might have missed it, but on a previous live stream, somebody mentioned that Cubic was threatening Doge. They were going to do the exact same thing to Doge, which doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean they had receipts, right? The guy from Cubic definitely said, watch what happens to and for our next trick, keep your eye on Doge. That was the tweet. It was like, oh my god. Like, now that being said, look what happened to Monero. And so if that happens to Doge, that's just good for us. So yeah, definitely, probably some blind firing from the hip there. But so we got involved with the Monerotopia folks. I'm trying to find. It wasn't long after my chat when that one went down. Uh, First of all, I just have to say this is one of the coolest PFPs I've ever seen. More people need to do the black bars over their eyes. It was a trend for a minute, but yeah, yeah. If you guys don't know where that comes from, it's part of SOCOM culture. Whenever SOCOM shares pictures of them doing some real fucking cool guy shit, they always throw the black bars over their eyes. Let's see here. This was June. Man, when was Porkfest? When was Porkfest? Still can't figure out what useful proof of work is. Quai is useful proof of work, man. We figured out what useful proof of work is. But this is a really fun pod, guys. It was an absolute honor to be on it, and hopefully the team has an absolute blast in Mexico City. I will not be going because I will be preparing for ETH Denver. Here we go. Do they even have it on their. Oh, geez. Yep, that's a thing. Do they even have it on
I
their
could
X?
sort of claim any.
Uh, I don't think they have it. Let's see. Let's see if is it Quai? It's yeah, it's all useful after all. Come on, X. What are we doing here? We are looking for Porkfest. No results. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Monero. Yeah, man, X is so freaking broken some days. Well, let's just do this. Let's just do this. Monero talk. There we go. And let's go back to. Was it a live stream? Yeah, it was a live stream. There's Dr. K. Here we go. Here's some Porkfest live streams. Here it is. Do do do.
Thanks, you're Doug. Welcome to stay up, man. You're welcome to stay up, or whoever wants to, come up next and
Thanks,
participate in this
Christopher.
discussion. I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole. I don't want to make this a whole Quay.
Sure. Quai.
Quai. All right. So, what is Quai? Why is it even named Quai?
Good question. So, my name's Matt. I'm ops and marketing at Quai Network.
I'll be right back. I need some water.
Can't go too deep on the technicals, anyways, but I can definitely give you the high level. The values. We love privacy. Over at Quai Network, we're huge fans of XMR. I'm personally huge privacy advocate. I've been building a VPN, ways for people to communicate privately in the past. And so been hanging out in the Matrix channels, huge fan. But at Quai Network, I think we're pretty value aligned with other Monero users is ultimately we want to replace fiat, right?
So, the first thing that kind of triggers me a little bit is just that you said you're the head of marketing. There is no marketing department in Monero because there's no organization.
Right.
So is it truly, is it decentralized? Are there anonymous devs working on it?
Absolutely.
Is it a funded corporation that's
running
the project?
Yeah, we're hey Steph, we're hitting the conference cycle pretty hard early this year. We got 3 of them back to back. I mean, obviously, the entire team isn't hitting the road and globetrotting. Too small of a team to do that, but you should be able to catch Dr. K, perhaps Alan at Consensus in Hong Kong, and then either both of them or one of them will be attending Porkfest, or not Porkfest, Monero in the Mexico City, and then yes, right after that, we'll be at East Denver. So February is going to be a little packed.
Yeah, we've been actually building this for over 7 years now, and it started out in UT Austin and got some initial funding as a National Science Foundation grant.
Interesting.
And then from there, the team required a benefactor to continue the research and development. Ultimately, at the end of 7 years, we've raised about $20 million. But the goal, honestly, wasn't to be like all the other cryptos out there that are just pump and dump schemes,
Yeah,
raising hundreds of
I'm
millions
both
of dollars.
looking forward to it and
because just the
apprehensive
raising
at
of
the
the
same
money
time.
is a trigger thing for a lot of Monero people.
Absolutely.
I don't think you should discount a project, right?
Sure.
We've seen Zcash do pretty amazing things because of the funding they have that allow them to be on the cutting edge of zero knowledge proofs and now the rest of crypto is benefiting from that. So I don't think we should all hate on that. Whether or not that can lead to like a true digital cash utility that nobody controls, that's yet to be determined, right?
Absolutely.
There's this thinking that if you have corporations involved, you have
Absolutely.
basically investors involved, and it kind of loses that
Yeah.
utility nature.
What I love about Quai Network is we're a dual token system, and our privacy token, which we call the world's first decentralized energy dollar, is Chi, and Chi was a fair launch. 100% of the supply was mined by the community. So
Chi is the base layer.
Chi is so it's a dual token ledger.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what we have is an account-based ledger and a UTXO-based ledger on a single blockchain.
Man, I
So
lost
Chi
some
is
weight.
on the UTXO-based ledger.
And my
Quai
beard got
EVM
longer.
compatible on the account-based ledger. Quai is completely transparent. There's no privacy there, but Chi on the UTXO-based ledger has the privacy properties of cash.
And they're connected essentially. Like you mint
There's
one out of the...
there's a protocol native controller that can exchange one token for the other, and so you can. The goal ultimately is to create a system where you can escape and never have to go back. So you can go risk on, do all your DeFi stuff with Quai, which I love DeFi because we got to get the middlemen out of our economy, and go risk off in Chi with a stable unit of account, a medium of exchange, with again privacy properties of cash.
So Monero's value proposition is very simple, just trying to be untraceable, unstoppable digital cash, on
Cool.
chain ideally, right?
Yeah.
What is the value proposition of Quai? Is it Quai?
Yeah, Quai Network. The world's new global monetary system at the end of the day. So in order to do that, we have to beat Visa, MasterCard in terms of utility. We have to be able to price our goods and services and denominate contracts in a stable unit of account. And in order to satisfy all that, we been building for a really long time.
So how would you guys like differentiate yourselves from the There's obviously a lot of competition in crypto.
Sure.
There's other networks with large network effects that are,
Sure.
may essentially have the same value prop as that.
Yeah.
Even things like Ethereum.
These guys are
Solana,
hardcore.
And you have the privacy
I love it.
versions of that are coming out and been at, like Tari just launched.
That one I'm not familiar with.
Xano, right? Xano's another also trying to kind of be an Ethereum,
right?
A privacy version of Ethereum.
Monero is still
So
very cypherpunk, guys.
From the competition.
I love it.
That's a good question. I mean, it really depends on the chain, right? We wanted to solve for the whole pie, but I think the biggest differentiator is scale. Like we truly can scale to satisfy the demands of a global economy with fast finality times. I mean, we're using Quai here at PorkFest, which I absolutely love. This has been seriously one of the best events I've ever been to. Full stop. Yeah, so most all other chains, frankly, can't scale, and it's kind of like the unspoken secret that once they do scale, they find a killer app. Fees usually go up or the change just breaks, and everybody either moves off of it or they just don't talk about it, and they lose that momentum that they gained initially.
And so why can you guys scale? What's going on with your
So
architecture?
we shard dynamically, and so ultimately right now we're on one shard, supports about 700 TPS, and then as more demand for transactions come into the network really uses the uncle rate to understand when it's time to create a new shard. And so by sharding dynamically, we can practically do that infinitely right now. We could satisfy the demands of 100,000 plus TPS.
Interesting. And so, how do you guys plan on, bringing you back to competition again? Because the reality is there are a lot of things trying to do this.
Sure.
How do you guys plan on overcoming the network effect of these other projects?
This is pre-soap, guys. How do you plan on competing? How do you plan on I love this question. It's a great question. It's something every blockchain should be asking themselves. I'm reveling in the fact that we have soap now, right? Because this is completely a non-issue. I don't even remember what my answer was. We won't watch the entire thing. This video is so much shorter than Dr. K's like 2 hour long video with Doug. But man, so it's the only thing. It's the only way to compete going forward.
Great question.
Granted, yeah, you're doing some newfangled way of scaling, but why would people just start using?
That's a great
Quai?
question. We're learning every day the best way to onboard people into crypto, but ultimately, you have to provide them the utility that they get with the current systems that they're using, if not better, right? So, again, today we've been, and this whole week we've been talking to vendors, getting them onboarded to Quai, and learning a lot. But the end goal here is to make sure it's something that's just as good, if not better, than Visa, Mastercard, any other chain out there that's operating at speed. Like, we have to have that utility, and then privacy then becomes a sidecar, and people just don't think about it. It just
And when you say
by natural.
onboarding them to Quai, the base layer Quai or the second coin that you're talking about?
So again, both coins are on a single blockchain.
They're both on a single blockchain.
Yes, and so right now, what's mostly available is Quai. It's the programmable, transparent token. Chi just started mining. I want to say like 4 weeks ago, so that's not readily available yet. But it's out there. If you want to get your hands on it, you can mine some. You can convert your Quai to Chi. But today, yeah, we had some vendor kits. Pay with Quai. We showed
But
them
like, wait,
that.
that's like once again. So I'm
Okay.
all for people accepting different cryptos, but
Yeah.
does this one not fall into the category of one where maybe you don't want to be accepting it as money because what's the market cap on this thing?
I think we're a little over 30 million right now. It's a small cap token.
Right.
We
So
just launched in February this year.
So if you're accepting it, it could be quite volatile theoretically, right? Obviously, you're hoping for volatile in the up direction, but
and so like again, this is going a little like too deep for me, but the emissions rate of Quai, if we're just talking about Quai, which is what's available right now, is log of difficulty, right? So the idea there is the emission curve grows with the growth demand, but is always a little behind it, right? And the idea there is like ultimately the inflation rate trends towards zero, and you have a deflationary token where it's always a good time to buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you say you're into Monero? When did you get into Monero?
I've been researching all crypto projects since like 2015 is kind of when I got pilled. And so I've been, following all of them, including Monero since then. Yeah.
What cryptos then are you most interested in for the purposes of using as digital cash? Not this, DeFi and all this other stuff, but just for like transactions, people using it as money.
I mean, to get me interested, you have to like prove you can scale, and you have to prove that you can, be just as good or if not better than Visa, Master. So like a Venmo like experience, right? Like if a vendor can get onboarded, easier than Venmo, accept payments, confirm payments, send their customers out the door, that's what I'm looking for. And then ultimately, the end game is getting rid of fiat. So if they can price their goods and services and run their budgets, denominate salary contracts in this token, then we've won. So that's what I'm looking for.
So
I
like
haven't seen a project.
Really?
I mean, besides Quai, I
if
almost
you were to
left
recommend
crypto,
to
honestly.
some noob like that wants to get into crypto and start living off of crypto.
Sure.
Which
stable tokens?
Stable tokens. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, so our largest community right now is Nigeria.
Most of those aren't private stable coins.
No, they're not. But you can live off of it.
Yeah, but it's kind of a flaw if you're trying to opt out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got to solve for all these problems at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
What if as a vendor you only wanted to
Right?
use Chi?
If we had soap,
that would be awesome. Yeah. They could absolutely do that, and all their transactions have the privacy properties of cash. So in order to do that, we've implemented BIP47. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but we enforce non-address reuse on the UTXO list.
Yeah, these guys are hardcore, right? Like
so,
real
with those two
cypherpunks.
properties,
I got mad
at
respect for
scale,
the Monero
it's
community.
cash-like privacy.
You know, their chain's
So
got
you've got the
issues,
wallet implementing
but
payment
every
codes
chain
in
does
order to send and
pre-soap.
receive chi, and then
But we're in a
you'll see
post-soap
the
world now,
amounts on a
guys.
block explorer. But the change looks like everybody else's change because we have 16 denominations, and nobody can trace it back to the original owner or receiver.
So, say as a vendor, I only want to use Chi, and somebody's like, I want to pay you, but in Quai. Like, how fast would that be for them to say, like, let me pay you, and like convert it to Chi during the transaction?
Good question. So both Chi and Quai are operating at the same speed. Chi on UTXO, obviously a little faster. There's no EVM involved. And then you can convert a number of different ways. Right now, there's a protocol converter, and that incurs like a 2 week lockup to help prevent against like supply shocks and demands. So we want Chi to maintain stable purchasing power. We call it an energy dollar. It's backed by the energy used to create it.
So it's trying to be a stable coin.
Bingo.
Chi. Chi. Okay.
Bingo. Yeah, we want it to be a medium of exchange and unit of account with the privacy properties, right? So you can price your goods and services in it. To get it faster, you could swap on a DEX, Quai for wrapped Chi, and then later unwrap it if you would like. But with the arbitrage opportunities there, you'll still maintain that stable purchasing power.
And how private is it? Like senders obfuscated, receivers obfuscated, amounts are obfuscated.
So I would say it's transparent, but there's no traceability, if that makes sense. So
okay, so
we use
it's like only stealth addresses, kind
of. Bit 47. Okay. Pay NIMS, I think, is the other name for it, right? So if you're familiar
silent
with that,
payments, silent, or no, it's different pay NIMS. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. There's a few different names for it. We use Bit 47. Payment codes is really like the mechanism.
Right, so obviously, if people can peer into the network, they can see amounts.
They can peer into the network. They can see the amounts. With the fixed denominations, again, your change looks like everybody else's change, right? You can't like.
So is that something you guys are okay with, or you're trying to become completely fungible, anonymous?
No,
private?
I think we're okay with it. Ultimately, if you can prevent traceability, then you've won at that point, right?
Okay. But our community probably disagree with you on that one.
Sure.
I mean, sender privacy is one, one.
So this is where just FYI guys, like this is where I'm like giggling on the inside because Monero claims to be unstoppable, untraceable money. And I just like explained to them how Chi is untraceable, and it still wasn't good enough. Their definition or their understanding of how you achieve untraceability is just different than ours. But ultimately, like yes, we both agree, as long as it's untraceable, you have all the privacy you need.
One leg of the
absolutely,
privacy,
and so enforcing non-address reuse protects the sender and the receiver, and yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Yeah. Anything you want to finish up with in terms of getting the word out?
No. If you're here at PorkFest, come by the booth. We got free Quai. You can try the app. Purchase some lunch at all the vendors out here. And if you're interested in all the tech behind it, like we really took an incentive design approach to building this to maintain decentralization at every layer. If you're into cash, we got what you want. If you're into DeFi, we got what you want. If you're into decentralization and privacy, I think we got what you want. We're at the very least interesting. There's a light paper. There's 5 peer-reviewed academic articles out there. Kind of like.
How many devs are contributing to this project? I
mean, at one point we had upwards of I think like 12 devs.
Yeah.
Right. We've scaled back since then. Now that we're live.
And the main dev, he's not anonymous because he was here at PorkFest.
Yep. He's out there in public.
Are there other anon devs, or is it mostly?
There are some open source devs out there. This whole project is open source. We were building in public on Discord. You could tune in anytime you want, listen to the devs hash it out.
And when you said you had investors and whatnot, so how does that play into like the tokenomics and like the supply?
So like Quai had a pre-mine of 3 billion tokens. I can't rattle off the percentages off the top of my head. They were locked, right? So all those tokens were locked for a period of time.
And then how many Quai will there ever be?
It depends on the growth of the network.
Oh, it's a continuous.
Yep. Okay. There's no cap supply. It's log of diff, right? Okay. So the idea is their inflation trends towards zero as the network grows. And
How many coins exist like now?
that I don't. I know circulating supply. Circulating supply is about 500 million of Quai.
500 million Quai?
Correct.
Okay. But
Correct. You can
you
look us
said
up
there was
on Coin
3
Market Cap.
billion Quai that were given to in the prima?
Yeah, it's locked.
Locked up.
Yeah.
But then there's another. Okay, that's a pretty big.
Hey, Doug. Doug, can you hear me?
Yes.
No, just watching the time because I know we got to go at 1. We have Body and Tony ready to do things if you want them to come on or continue the combo. Because I know
Yeah,
we're streaming at 1, right? Ross's.
yeah, we're gonna try to get the Ross thing going.
Ross Ulbricht, guys. Right after this, fresh out of, prison, Ross Ulbricht came and spoke at PorkFest. It was a pretty special moment. We'll stop watching there. Steph mentioned he's still wrapping his head around privacy. Steph, I don't know if you've seen this doc. We put it together pretty quickly late last year when privacy was taking over the narrative. But I think it does a really good job of breaking down the privacy features of Qi. So I'm gonna drop it here in the chat. But if this makes sense to you, um, or if you have any feedback, obviously we definitely want it to make sense to folks like yourself. But there's some nuance in here, right? Because privacy is more of a spectrum, and anonymity is something completely different, right? You can consider to keep it simple. I consider anonymity 100% privacy. Nobody knows anything. You're completely anonymous, right? Privacy is more of a spectrum, right? So like we understand our current, the transactions we currently make in the current financial system to be private, right? But they're not private to you. They're not private to the vendor in which you're conducting a transaction with. It's not private to Visa or MasterCard or the payment rails, and it's definitely not private to the banks, right? But everybody in that circle that I just named knows exactly who you are and how much money you just spent and with who you just spent it with, right? Um, so privacy is on a spectrum, and there's a certain amount of privacy that we expect and that we need in everything we do day in and day out, right? Like, and there's sacrifices that we're constantly making or trade-offs that we're constantly making in terms for the utility that we get from those trade-offs, right? I have no problem giving Google a certain amount of data because they provide me with a lot of utility, right? And I trust them to keep my information private between us and, maybe the government, right? I trust that they don't, allow anybody to go and look at all my data, but it is not anonymous, right? So what a lot of cypherpunks, quote unquote, and Monero folk really want when they say privacy, what they really want is anonymity, right? That's what they really want, right? And the truth is that anonymity is near impossible, especially if you want to use these tokens as cash, right? It's incredibly difficult to maintain anonymity when you're using a quote unquote anonymous blockchain as money, right? How often do you go fill up your gas at the exact same gas station? How many times has the barista at the coffee shop seen you come in and order, the exact same thing or, a potential of 3 different drinks, right? You're paying your utility bills, right? You're paying your mortgage, your rent, you're spending money at the same grocery store, right? Like every week or whatever. Maintaining anonymity is next to impossible, right? And so once you understand that, right, you start to realize like, okay, how much privacy do I really need? And what it boils down to is, you really just don't want anybody outside of the transaction you're conducting to know any more. And even the person you're conducting the transaction with, you don't want them to know any more than they absolutely have to know, right? So you compare this to like Bitcoin or Ethereum, mainly just the Ethereum ecosystem at this point. But if I conduct any transaction with any individual, that individual now has total access, total visibility to my entire history. They can see all the tokens that I own. They can see every transaction I've ever made. It is like uh, equivalent of like every time you buy a coffee, like they do a freaking anal probe on you, right? That's literally like the amount of privacy you have on those networks, right? So the design goal with the privacy of Chi is to, really maintain um, the privacy of, the sender and receiver um, from not knowing too much about each other than the transaction that they're actually like agreeing to at that point in time, right? So the way I like to explain it is like I can send Christopher 5 chi. I know that I sent him 5 chi. He knows that I sent him 5 chi, but he has no idea how much chi I actually own, and I have no idea how much chi Christopher actually owns. And then everybody else outside of this transaction, they can see that a transaction occurred, but they have no idea who was actually participating in that transaction, right? And so it's transparent but untraceable, right? Um, and we have to be able to do this at scale, right? In other words, we have to be able to do this at the throughput speeds that the global monetary system demands, right? And no other solution out there can actually scale, right? Zero knowledge proofs can't scale. Total homomorphic encryption can't scale. These ring signatures that Monero uses right now, they don't scale, right? Monero's block times are 2 minutes. Okay, and yeah, it's just like those solutions, while they may achieve more anonymity, right? It all depends on how you look at it, right? So, yeah, the sender, the receiver, the amount is totally obfuscated. Cool. But if only 100 people are using this goddamn thing, how private are you really? Right? It's going to be pretty easy for anybody with, the incentive to figure out like what's going on in that system. And when you're operating in something like ring signatures, it's also there's other avenues of attack. Zero knowledge proofs. Those are computationally expensive. So computationally expensive that it just doesn't scale, right? So we know uh, why we call it cache-like privacy now. The other way I like to explain it is when you're using cash, right? Imagine you're working at a gas station and people are coming and going and they're buying food and drinks and snacks and, lickies and chewies, and everybody's conducting trade in cash, right? At the end of the day, when the teller opens the cash drawer, right, they can see how much money they made, but they have no idea which dollar bill belonged to who, right? They can look at their transaction receipts and they can do their own audit, right? But if anybody else like looked at that cash drawer, they have no idea which dollar came from where and is associated with what transaction. Okay, that's another way of explaining it. So the way we break it, the way we do this, right, is through really like four main properties here. A, enforced non-address reuse. Okay, this is that bit 47 that I was talking about earlier, where, there is like one opportunity per prime block for somebody to reuse an address, right? So if you're not familiar with UTXOs, this might be a little over your head. So real simply, a UTXO ledger is not like Ethereum. It's not like the EVM or Solana ledgers where you have a wallet address and a balance associated with it. Um, every token, every amount of a token is its own address on a UTXO ledger, right? It's much more like cash, right? So, and I explained this yesterday. The example is if I have a $10 UTXO and I want to send energy like $5, I have to take this $10 UTXO. I have to break it up into two $5 UTXOs. That $10 UTXO gets spent. $5 UTXO goes back to me, and $5 UTXO goes to energy, right? So enforced non-address reuse means that now like nobody's using the same address twice. Okay, boom. You add some entropy. You increase the set size, the anonymity set size there. Um, the way the wallets implement this and make it a seamless user experience is payment codes, right? So payment codes are a cryptographic mechanism that allows senders to derive unique addresses for each transaction while the recipient remains a single reusable identifier, right? So that means if I want to send Christopher 5 chi and then later I want to send him 10 chi and then later I want to send him 15 chi, I just need one payment code that represents Christopher and I can derive new addresses for each of these transactions that allow me to send Christopher money without repeating that address more than once, right? Because I can't reuse addresses, right? So that's how we implement that. And then lastly, right, like what's happening on Bitcoin is even though they have implemented Bit47, the wallets these days, most of them, Tangent doesn't, by the way, I just figured that out. But most wallets don't reuse addresses to help protect your privacy because there is, like a million Satoshis per BTC, which means that there's like a crap ton of decimals, right? The change that you create when you conduct a transaction is going to be uniquely identifiable to you, right? And that change can be traced through the blockchain. You can fingerprint the change when you do chain analysis and find out where this money came from, right? What Chi's done is we've enforced fixed denominations, right? So there's only 16 denominations of Chi, which means every transaction can only result in a possible of like 16 different types of UTXOs, which means that everybody's change looks like everybody else's change, and you can't fingerprint an individual based or an individual transaction based on the change output. Um, so those three things. Plus this last bit here, the cooperative reaggregation. Eventually wallets will get a little too complex, right? Like if you're using the same wallet for years or you're doing like thousands of transactions a week or something like that, you're gonna have lots of UTXOs, and your wallet is gonna be it's not efficient in terms of like if you want a wallet that is snappy and actually like has a great user experience. So reaggregation of UTXOs. Say I have 100 $5 UTXOs. I want to turn 100 UTXOs into one $500 UTXO. Um, That's what reaggregation is. I'm going to take a bunch of UTXOs, I'm going to do a single transaction and turn them into like fewer UTXOs, right? Take $105 bills and turn it into one $500 bill. Okay. That can only happen once per prime block, right? And because the bandwidth on those reaggregations are limited, it incentivizes cooperative reaggregation, which means it incentivizes lots of people to come together to collectively reaggregate their UTXOs. And like long term, like don't think like, as a user, like I have to worry about this, right? Like what's going to happen at scale is ultimately vendors will be doing this for you, right? Because they're the ones who are going to be handling the massive amount of transactions. And the wallets will have this functionality like built into them already. And so basically they're a lot like coin joins. They basically are coin joins. And so when you incentivize cooperative reaggregation, you increase that anonymity even further by forcing many parties to do reaggregations at the same time. So yeah, I'm not sure why Tangent does that. Like in Ledger, every time I ask for a receive address, it gives me a brand new one. I don't know why Tangent doesn't do that. But it's been a long time since I sent Bitcoin to a Tangent. We'll try it again. So I'm not going too hard on Tangent. Great product, great product. Um, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, hopefully that helps, Steph. Check out this doc. Hopefully this doc explains it well enough. Um, but uh, but yeah, we did not have this until recently. So if you haven't seen it, don't feel like an idiot. We're the idiots for not producing it sooner. Energy says optional privacy like Zec is a honeypot. They have this anonymity problem. Um, yeah, man. Well, like everybody entering and exiting a private system has, a certain amount of traceability, right? So and we outline that to be clear, like even Chi has this issue, right? So Chi UTXO based has cache-like privacy, right? But if you are converting Quai to Chi, right? Everybody can see that transaction because it originates on the Quai ledger, right? So it's really easy to like find that transaction. Um, and then, from that point forward, right, like you're going to have to take some additional steps or conduct some additional transactions to get that obfuscation back in, right? When you exit Chi, that's another like, signal on a non-private system, right? Going from Chi to Quai, right? Boom, there's a traceable transaction right there. So, to be as anonymous as possible in Chi, you'll want to get your hands on quote unquote native Chi or Chi that has been mined, and you keep it on the Chi ledger, right? But again, guys, ultimately, like at scale, um, like the only people who really have to worry about this are, people who have the means and the methods and the tools to mitigate it. But at the end of the day, it's cache-like privacy. It is the bare minimum privacy everybody needs and deserves to, operate as an individual, a community, and a business in a global monetary system. So people who think that complete anonymity is realistic are either ignorant or they're gaslighting you. Like you should do everything you can to protect your data, do everything you can to be knowledgeable and make smart decisions. But total anonymity, it's it's a pipe dream. Like, sorry. You know, and this is coming from a guy who built built a VPN company, right? I've been in this in the privacy and uh, you know, dark corners of the internet for far too long. It's truly something that you can only achieve for a short amount of time to do a minimum amount of things. If your goal is complete anonymity, you're going to get it for like one action and one action only. Um, and it's a shit ton of work. It's just it's not realistic to expect 100% in anonymity in everything you do throughout your entire life. Um, let's see here. Just a thought for newbies like myself. I noticed that podcast you showed before, the interviewer didn't know how to pronounce Quai. Maybe for a short while, some of our promo posts says. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we are well aware that most people, until they've heard it, it's like a 50-50. It's like 50-50 they get it right. Um, so it's kind of like a game we like to play. Uh, you know, are they gonna say it right? We'll find out. And then he says chi pronounced che or something like that. It's chi. Um, yeah, Q Y Quai. Let's see. I think we have the phonetics somewhere. I've seen them before. Was it on introduction? Tokenomics overview? I could have swore I've seen the phonetics somewhere. Yeah, Quai, pronounced K-Y, which is how I have to spell it in Suno to make the singers and the songs. And Chi, pronounced Chi. So, or energy, Chi. Anywho, all right. So I'm checking boxes for Monerotopia. I think I gotta check in on this over here. ETH Denver is also right around the corner. Man, during conference season, uh, it's kind of like herding cats some days, guys, I'll admit. But we make it happen. We make it happen. Let's see here. Where did this go? There we are. All right. And then back to this. Yeah. And that goes for the rest of the chat, guys. Check out this doc. I linked it in the X chat. If you guys have any questions or feedback, let us know. It is a relatively newer document, so if you missed it, um, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Where are we at? Let's get some tunes going. Guys, if you're a miner, the mining chats in Discord are a lot of fun these days. It's really cool to see miners start to catch on. Now, the cat's gonna enter the chat. You can jump up on the chair? No? Alright. Alright, where were we? Let's see here. In the metered mining community, 6x Quai price gain within a month is crazy. Any POW coin will go up in hash rate. Dogecoin mining was stable for over a year. For quite a sustained hash rate spike like 1 petahash, coins needs to pump along with it. I heard today that K1 pool working on a Quai pool, which will make you withdraw much quicker than 14 days. Means more liquidity and less price stability for Quai. Yeah, K1 pool, they're playing a risky game, guys. They're playing a risky game. They're gonna pay out miners before the tokens unlock? What? What? Yeah, that means they're gonna have to buy ahead, right? So they're gonna have to long Quai to pay out the miners quicker for their hash rate. We'll see how that works out. But if they're willing to take a risk, there's opportunity, guys. Opportunity abound. Let's see here, what else is going on? Rabid Mining is like all in on XMR right now. He's all in on Monero. Oh yeah, guys, I always forget we have a MetaMask snap. When QuaiCon event. That's so. I was actually talking about this. I think, you know, like if we make, like, think about this. Who has conferences? I was literally thinking about this the other day. When is QuaiCon? It's a cool name too, right? QuaiCon. QuaiCon. What was I looking at? Yeah, Coin Market Cap. Look, another Twitch bot. Mighty. Hey mate, I really love your stream. Enjoy being a part of your community. Would you mind adding me up on Discord? Nah, man. I don't do Discords. I don't do Discords. We are a team member of a very, very large Discord server that's been around for 5 years. So, if you want to hit me up on X. Hit me up on X. Let's do market cap. Okay. Bitcoin's got conferences. Ethereum has conferences. I don't think Binance has conferences. I don't think XRP has conferences. Solana has conferences. Tron is the one I didn't know. Is there a Tron crypto conference? Tron DAO? Europol's Crypto Crime Conference. That's suspect. With Cornell Blockchain Club. So Tron DAO. Alright, so there is a Tron conference. Little J-pop action. But they host it at an Ethereum conference. So, anyways, here's my hot take. We need to be as big or bigger than Solana. So, and I don't know what Solana's market cap was before then, but the goalposts just keep moving, guys. So, if we get into the top 10, I think there will be serious consideration for a QuaiCon. Yeah. Yeah. This is Litecoin in the house. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking about this. So that's my theory. We get close to the size of Solana, and QuaiCon will definitely be a thing. That would be cool, right? You guys are early for it too, right? Why am I the only one streaming right now? Like, yeah, I realize we all got day jobs. I am so blessed. So blessed. It's a fucking grind, guys. Like the hours are nonstop, but if I was in the community right now and knew what you guys knew, I'd be like, God damn, like how do I get like my foot on some of this territory as it grows? Like how do I like plant my flag on this thing? Cuz the foundation just like, you know, the team here, we promote anybody and everybody who's doing something. So and now with like AI guys, it's like I mean everybody's talking about Claude, but like Composer on Cursor, like we should have people building like right freaking meow. And there are people building. I just like I expect to see a lot more. But 80-20 rule, right? 80-20 rule. Let's do a quick time check. Oh dang, it's already almost 5. Gosh dang, guys. Okay, so yesterday I said I think our new average is gonna be like 45. Uh, this thing just keeps blowing me out of the water. Shaw hash rate creeping back up. I don't know what script is doing. I don't know what script is doing. You know what though, guys? Like if I was an intelligent miner, I would still be testing the waters at this point, right? Like the 2-week lockup it's a little edgy, right? Now it makes perfect sense for the use case of Chi as a stable coin. But as a miner who's like as a miner, I'm not a miner, but for any miner who's been around in this space and seen tokens come and go, the 2-week lockup is kind of pushing me a little bit. Feels a little riskier than I'm used to, I guess. Even though, like, yeah, it's ASICs that are multi-use. I'm not really like having to invest besides just my energy costs. So it's gonna take some time for a lot of miners to really like be okay with a 2-week lockup. Um, and it's gonna take some time for the rest of crypto to like understand. Like I talked about this yesterday. They're gonna have to like destroy some of their belief systems to really wrap their head around like how we're actually doing this. You know, that's kind of what DeFi Llama's going through at the moment. They're like, what? 60,000 in revenue? I'm getting distracted. I don't like this song. No. 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 Here we go.
I woke in the dirt, my pockets were bare. No gold in my hand, just the weight of despair. Fiat dreams, they crumble and fall. Printed lies on a paper wall.
Is it just me? Or should she be wearing something more professional?
From the ashes and mud, building a world they can't flood. The central press spins.
I have no idea, but like somebody asking for a job, right? Like this is just the state of the world. Like I'm sure she's great. But it doesn't look like you're putting your best foot forward here, lady. Oh my gosh. I'm old or something. I'm old or something. I guess she was a part of the Polygon Labs restructure. She got laid off due to restructuring at Polygon Labs. Jim Wahlberg, welcome, man. We gotta get you some Quai. We gotta get you some Quai. Jim Wahlberg in the house. Oh man, sorry, I'm doing this the wrong way. Here we go. Dope PFP, as always. Yeah, I can send this song, actually. I'll have to send it in Discord. Jim, I want to send you some Quai. Jim, I want to tip you some Quai. Jim, I need a post in order to tip you Quai. Alright, feel free to tag me so I don't miss it, man. I owe you some Quai. Let me get you this song. Where are we? Crypto Miner's Hymn. Download. Alright, we'll drop it in general. Who is it? Dan? Oh, man. Alright, going in general. Requested by chat on live stream. Crypto Miner's Hymn. Here it is. There you go. It's in the general channel on Discord, Dan. There's a lot of Dans in Discord now, and I don't remember your actual handle. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. Don't let me do that again. All right. Jim, help me out. Help me out. We haven't checked pro today.
The central press spins its endless song. Promises plenty, but the math's all wrong. They called us fools, degenerates too, but we saw the cracks, the truth shining through. Blocks stack high, like the stars above, each one a stone in the house of love. Quiet digging down deep, breaking chains that made us sheep.
Alright. Alright, I'll take that, Jim. You rock, man. Really appreciate it. There you go, sir. Welcome to the chat. We're nearing the end of the stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. I think I checked all my boxes for this afternoon. We're gonna start moving on to the next thing. So we'll spend a little more time on this, guys. I gotta like vibe code something soon. I'm itching. I'm itching to build something. Nobody else is building anything. Yeah. What should we build? Should we do? I mean, I gotta finish the dashboard. I should finish what I started, right? Let me know, guys. Should I finish the dashboard? Oh, I'm all out of Zen. Oh no, I'm out of Zen. No, I'm not. I got one more can. Excuse me. Let me know what I should vibe code. Do we need a multi-sig? Do we need DAO tooling? Should I finish the dashboard? I'll add like the dashboard, like I kind of don't want to do the dashboard because there's a lot of builders in our community making dashboards. And I don't want to like turn that into a competition. But if, maybe it helps. Maybe, my take and their take and our forces combined, like we can build like the dashboard to rule all dashboards on Quai. Who knows? Everybody wants something a little different. So maybe I finish the dashboard. Maybe I build a multi-sig. I kind of want like a like Quaimark is a great NFT marketplace, guys. Like, love Quaimark. No, no hard feelings on Quaimark, but I kind of want like just like a light NFT marketplace, like something like stupid simple, something that looks like not something that looks like 4chan or something, like zero fees, just NFTs and trading, you know? And like I realize like, Quaimark is running a business. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into what it takes to run an NFT marketplace. But if it could just be a front end, do zero fees, allow for NFT transfers, because the wallet, we got a limited team over here and a lot of priorities. So I want to vibe code something that's useful for everybody. Jim Wahlberg's working on something. Oh, we reached 100 messages today, guys. Man, you guys rock. Cheers, chat. Let's see here. So Jim Wahlberg, he's going to be working on vibe coding Alan's Explorer. Dan agrees I need to keep vibe coding. Matt O is asking thoughts on the dashboard. When does the 24-hour finish? It's a rolling 24 hours. Right? So, from whenever you look at it, the last 24 hours. You can see it, it'll change in real time as more blocks come in. So let's wait for a block to show up. What are we at? 122.26. reserve system pool. Interesting. Tell me more about a reserve system pool. Yeah, it's a rolling 24 hours. I would love to see this on a line chart personally.
Where the sun won't shine, I was digging holes for a nickel and dime. Whiskey breath.
A reserve for 2-week lockup. Oh, Jim. That's, I mean, again, there's an opportunity there. But FYI, K1 pool sounds like they're gonna be implementing that. So you're not the only one who's thought of it. Okay, boom, 18. Look, this number just updated. There you go. Yeah, it's a rolling 24 hours. And if that gets exhausted, switch to 2 weeks. Oh, maybe like a crowd-funded, like a miner-funded pool for instant payouts. You can beat their fees. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Love the competition here, guys. Maybe not their liquidity. You know, it might be, and I'm just curious, right? Like, I mean, miners it's a hyper-competitive space, and there are some major sophisticated players in that space. But if miners wanted instant payouts, you know, like you might be around long enough to remember liquid mining tokens. That was something that I was looking forward to. You know, it's still feasible. We just need a mature market, right? Launching liquid mining tokens without a mature market doesn't really make sense. Clearly, we are on our way with Project Soap to a mature market, but from a marketing perspective, like marketing to miners who like struggle with that 2-week lockup, I was really looking forward to liquid mining tokens because it allowed them to sell their positions instantly, right? So there's just some thoughts on that. But maybe you could crowdfund it. I don't know. I don't know. But if I was a miner, I'm not I do not claim to be a miner. I just like test these GPUs every now and then. But if I was a miner, you know, I understand why 2-week lockups are hard. Now I only pay my power bill once a month. But I understand in a volatile market, 2-week lockups can be hard to swallow. So if I had the opportunity to, you know, lock up my tokens for a year, for, you know, that 25% interest, and then just send all those rewards into liquid mining tokens and instantly sell those liquid mining tokens, I think that's what I would do. I think that's what I would do. Now, without liquid mining tokens, I might be convinced to contribute to a pool for instant payouts. Maybe. Yeah, you got to pay for the liquidity stake. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. I mean, K1 Pool's doing it. Clearly. Oh, they just added script. This is interesting. Looks like they launched it earlier today. It looks like they don't have Shaw. And Quai is their only script. They also have Quai script solo, which is interesting. And they're still running ProgPow. Yeah, this is dying. Guys, do not mind ProgPow on Quai. It's valid, but you're leaving money on the table. Do not mind ProgPow. Interesting. Interesting. Oh man, I got the hiccups. All right, folks. Whew. All right, let me see if I can kill some hiccups. All right. Maybe this works. Dan, hopefully you got your hands on that song. I just dropped it in the general chat. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We had over 100 chats today, so good day. Good day for the stream. Guys, follow the account. Tell your friends. Tell your family. We're giving away Tangent wallets. If they join in chat, they earn some Quai. I only have so much, though. And we'll be giving away Tangems once we reach 1,000 followers. Where are we at right now? 452. That's one less than yesterday. What happened? What happened? Don't you guys want Tangems? What's the deal? What's the deal? But yeah, we'll be giving away Tangems once we reach 1,000 followers. Tune in tomorrow for Quiet Friday. That'll be fun. If you're an ambassador, check the ambassador chat. We invited y'all to speak. That's going to be a good space. Dr. K will be recording a podcast with Jordan Hall, which I'm really excited about. I think we plan on releasing that at the end of January. So that's going to be a good one. More partnership announcements and content coming to you guys soon. A lot of cool stuff. All the reasons in the world to be bullish because Project Soap is just painting numbers for Quai right now. Look at the hash rate just like start to climb. Averaging 60K in revenue on a daily basis. Most profitable token to mine in the space right now, whether you're on GPUs or SHA or script ASICs. Bullish, bullish. And we're seeing a lot of activity in the markets. Got a little bit of sell pressure at 10 cents, eh? A little bit of sell pressure at 10 cents. It's okay. Here it comes. Right back up. No sweat. No problem. On our way, guys. We are on our way. All this revenue is coming in hot, so get ready for this to keep trending up. If you're trying to get your hands on Quai, guys, go sign up at Kipper Money. All the other Info 5 projects are dead. Kipper is not InfoFi. Let us be clear. It is native tipping on X. Easiest way to earn some Quais, so make sure you sign up for that. Use the referral codes, guys. Use those referral codes. You refer a big content creator, you're going to be earning some money. That's for sure. So go tip your favorite content creator. Let's see where I'm at on the board here. Dang, it is so hard to beat Christopher. Yes! We did it! We did it! We did it! Can I even spell, albeit right? But yeah, guys, if you are trying to get your hands on even more Quai, we are traded on Mexi, Gate.io, and L-Bank. You can swap those useless tokens for more useful ones over at SwapSpace and Let's Exchange. More opportunities for all of that are coming. Big unlocks happening real soon, guys. Kraken is right around the corner. I expect some really big announcements on that front real soon, so stay tuned for that. You're still early over here at Quai Network. We are post-soap. We're the only blockchain with a sustainable revenue model built on the backs of real hardworking miners, rewarding everybody on the network. Miners, node operators, users, traders, you name it, builders. Everybody has an opportunity over here at Quai. Content creators as well. So now's the time. Now's the time to plant your flag and have your voice heard. Make your mark, guys. Go out there, make your mark, take a risk. Quai's got you covered. Quai has got you covered. Now's the time. Now's the time. People are showing up day in and day out. This is where you want to be if you want to build something big, guys. So shout out to everybody who's building out there. All the members of the community who are chatting, engaging, learning, spreading the mission and vision far and wide. You guys absolutely rock. This is why I do it. The most cracked community in crypto, hands down, no question about it. But we got to move on to some other things here. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the space tomorrow, and like always, we'll be live in the afternoon. So have a great evening, everyone, and we will catch you all then. Peace.